Hey, everybody, welcome to episode 541 of our Tick Bootcamp podcast. We're here today with two very special guests that I had the honor of meeting in person in Manhattan for Project Labcoat. And it was a really fun experience where we got to raise awareness, walk the runway, and raise a ton of funds for Lyme disease research. And the number is not officially out yet, but we've been privy to it. And I think you guys have as well, Juge and Kiana. So it's going to be
Oh,
coming soon for that big number. But so we're here with Juge, Sealy, and Kiana. Kiana, how do you say your last name?
Tebiani.
Tebiani. And they are the artist DJ duo named Zella. And frankly, I'm old, so I didn't know who they were when I met them. And then I looked you guys up and I asked my younger cousins, and they're like, "Oh wow, these girls are really talented." And then when we met you in person, it was evident how talented you guys really are.
Thank
So
you.
it was an honor to
You're
meet
so
you,
kind.
and welcome to the Tick Boot Camp podcast, guys.
Thank
Likewise, it's
you.
long overdue. Been super excited. Obviously, been following y'all and everything y'all do and your advocacy, research, everything. It's been amazing for years. I've listened to a ton of podcast episodes, so excited to be here.
Yeah.
Same as well.
So let's talk through your background a little bit, Juge, because we know that you got Lyme a little bit later in life, but talk about
Yeah.
what life was like as a kid before you first started getting sick and having symptoms of Lyme disease.
So I grew up in Pennsylvania, and I always like kind of say anyone who knows Pennsylvania, obviously. I mean, I was right outside the city, so it was nice that I had close access to Philly, but I was like kind of in when Kiana when she visited because she's from LA. When she visited Pennsylvania, she was like, I didn't know you were from like the middle of nowhere. And like to me, it's not the middle of nowhere, but yes, like a lot of like fields, grass, ticks. So that's kind of where my story starts, is being born in Pennsylvania. And then I lived in Brazil for a little, have dual citizenship, moved to Chicago for a little, then back to Pennsylvania. So the majority of my life and my story is in Pennsylvania, but there were some like, I don't know, destination stops along the way that my dad's job moved to, whatever. And also my mom's from Brazil, so that's where my dual citizenship comes from because my family lives in Brazil. But anywho, yeah, normal childhood. Besides like one encounter with salmonella as a kid, really healthy kid, nothing to report back of anything concerning. And I always loved doing theater. So I grew up doing theater professionally, and being in the East Coast was a great place to do it. I was able to kind of like get a head start, I would say, into my music journey at a young age, like being able to work in these theaters. I thought it was really cool. I would get to like skip school and then get to like do like online school. So it was like really fun for me because none of my friends really did that, and I didn't really know any people that did that. But it was about when I also went to camp in the Mountains theater camp, which that's just like another part of my story I would add because we never, and I will get there, but we never really found out where I got the tick bite from. But think about all these places where there's like a lot of deer. I grew up in Pennsylvania. I mean, we found ticks on our dog all the time. My school were like rolling in the dirt, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, I went to like a school, we're always playing in the grass, and then I went to theater camp, Catskill Mountains, a lot of ticks, upstate New York, like as many people, I've met a lot of people with Lyme who are actually from upstate New York. Then, very, like I said, healthy, athletic, did lacrosse my entire life and theater. And then when I was 12, I started having a lot of GI issues. And then they found like a really enlarged lump on my left armpit. It was like the first ever sign that something was a little weird. So obviously got that checked out, and that was just like a really enlarged lymph node, which obviously points to an infection, and then was having a lot of blood in my stools, mucus. So we knew something was going on with my GI. So that was the first like sign, like something's kind of weird.
And how old are you at
Then
this point, Juge?
12.
12. Okay.
I got tested, well, I got diagnosed with celiac at 12. So at that point, obviously stopped consuming any gluten. And then I also stopped consuming dairy because like at that point before the colonoscopy came back with the celiac results, it was like, let's just eliminate all like dairy, gluten, like the big inflammatory. And at that point, even though when I figured out it wasn't the dairy, I mean, they never told me it wasn't the dairy, but when I got the celiac diagnosis, I probably could have resumed eating dairy. I just was so freaked out with how sick I was when I just Kiana knows this. I went from 12 until 23 years old, never having dairy, and then like my first bite of cheese, I've never gone back. But yeah, gluten's like a life.
It was a miraculous day. The day we were able to give her cheese for the first time, Jude was it was like watching a baby take its first steps. She was like,
It was
it's so
so
cute.
good. Unfortunately, gluten's a lifelong sentence. That I'll never be able to consume, even with like close proximity, like no cross contamination, because obviously celiac's intense. But the dairy, like I was like, yeah, we're back. Anywho, so yeah, I thought that was like okay, a little blimp in the road. That was like the end of my little health thing. That's what my parents probably thought. I wasn't even really thinking much into it. It's like, okay, mom wants to take me to the doctor, something's going on, okay, and go back to doing what I was doing. Then when I was I'm trying to just make sure. Oh, I started getting some rashes when I was 15, like rashes that didn't necessarily look like a bullseye. Sorry, I didn't know if you were about to ask what the rashes looked like. I probably could pull up pictures
Yes.
if you want. Yeah.
Well, what I was going to say, Juge, is it's so funny you bring this up because we just did a blog post and a social media post that for 50 years, science has taught us that the bullseye rash is the hallmark for a Lyme rash. But this
Mm-hmm.
study just came out by the American Dermatology Association of America,
Mm-hmm.
and yet people aren't talking about it. And what it's saying is the bullseye is not the only type of rash that is the rash for Lyme disease. There's multiple versions of it. In fact, there's something called a Christmas tree rash, which is multiple rings that kind of form together. And
That's what mine look
also,
like. Yeah.
get out of here.
Well, one of the rashes I get, and it's like raised. Is it like red
Yes.
and raised? Yes, that's one
Yeah,
of the
and
ones.
it sounds like it's way more common than I thought, but I didn't hear of it until the study came out. And if you get this Christmas tree rash, then it's a pretty much a sign of you got Lyme disease. But it just came out, nobody's talking about it. Doctors don't know about it. Dermatologists aren't speaking about it. It's just really bizarre. So I think it's an important note that you were having rashes,
Yeah.
but it's not just a bullseye rash. That is a Lyme rash. There's a variety of them. And multiple rashes throughout your body is another common sign because as the Lyme disease is spreading, it's
Yep.
going to present in different parts of your body as well. So a lot
I
of new
didn't even
science
know
coming out on
that.
that.
That's
I didn't
so
know
good
that
to
either.
know.
That's
I'm definitely
crazy.
gonna look into that because yeah, I have a lot of people that ask me like to be honest, I'm like the token friend, specifically in the West Coast too, because like nobody has Lyme here. They're like, "Hey, I have this rash. Do you think I have Lyme disease?" I'm like, "Okay, like let's not jump to conclusion." You know what I'm saying? I don't want anyone to
I've
like
done that, I think, like
just
twice.
yeah, and funny enough, like I'm gonna send you some pictures after this too. Like maybe if you want to incorporate it, I don't know if you want to like add it
Yeah,
into this video so you can
for
see the
sure.
difference between rashes. Like I will, she's even seen it. Like mine's not bad right now, but like I will get ones even too. Like when I'm gonna flare with my eyes that will swell, like red, dry, crusty. Looks like, and the only thing that will bring them down, funny enough, a lot of times when they're on my arms is a steroid cream. So I was
Hmm.
getting these, and yeah, they were like, oh, it's eczema. And then I was getting these Bartonella, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, Matt. I think Bartonella comes in line rashes.
Yep, it looks like almost like stretch marks or like
Yes,
scratches on your body. Correct.
I've
Yep.
had those. So that's when it was like, okay, why are these rashes like transforming? Like meaning like it started with like the circular, like raised round like clusters, and then now why am I getting rashes that don't even look like those? Kind of
So,
odd.
right. And this is where I think awareness is key because if you're a
Yeah.
doctor, you should be thinking Lyme disease and Bartonella. The
Yeah.
scratches and the lines are indicative of a Bartonella infection, and they're very common and documented. And now these
Hmm.
other rashes that have been better documented and more science behind it, they're indicative of Lyme disease. But let me tell
Yep.
you a step further, another wild thing. We had somebody come on this podcast and tell us that every time they ate gluten, they'd have a rash, and it would be a bullseye rash specifically. And their doctor didn't believe them. So their doctor made them come into the office and eat and have the rash. So she had gluten and the rash came out. And the doctor was like, I don't understand. This makes no sense, and just couldn't make any sense of it.
Is this someone with celiac or with Lyme disease or any sort of
With
like
Lyme,
autoimmune?
yep, it was a Lyme patient. So
Okay.
every time she had gluten, she had the bullseye rash. So we had the honor of asking various researchers and Lyme literate specialists as a follow-up after interviewing this person. And the response we got pretty unanimously from all the experts was that the immune system, and
I
this
was
is this
gonna.
gets deeper into Lyme, right? The immune
That's where I was even
system,
gonna. Yeah.
yeah. What do you think, Jude? Before I tell you the answer, I'm curious what your thoughts are.
I was gonna say like a lot of where my next point was going to go, which I don't want to jump to it because I like where you're headed, but like my immune system went downhill from there. I was getting strep all the time. Like my immune system could not keep up because it was fighting an infection I didn't even know about. But what you're saying with that, a lot of times like with celiac, a lot of these I don't want to jump far ahead because it's going to start. I was developing a lot of other issues because my immune system was physically attacking itself by not
Yep.
fighting this infection. So I'll interject in your next point,
Yeah, no, but
but
that you're spot on, and I think you're very similar to this, except not as extreme. Because what all these researchers and doctors and immunologists, I mean, look, we had Dr. Tal, who we interviewed at the fashion show, right? That I was interviewing
Mhm.
about this topic, the immunological responses and different categories of immune responses, some of them which are healthy and some of them which are she called catastrophic, right? And the
Mhm.
catastrophic immune response is the autoimmune component. And in this case, it was creating the bullseye rash. But specifically, the immune system when it encountered Lyme for the first time, it developed immune cells in response to the bacteria. But the immune system is not normal. So it's sort of, I'll say, damaged in simple terms,
Yeah.
where it sees other things and misinterprets that thing as a Lyme infection. So it mounts the same immune response
Yes.
as thinking it's the Lyme bacteria. So, oh, I see gluten. I'm gonna mount antibodies for Lyme. Oh, I see whatever, a virus, and I'm going to mount an immune response for Lyme. So she was having the
So
bullseye
interesting.
rash every time she had gluten because her immune system was misinterpreting the gluten
Attacking it.
as
Yeah.
Lyme, and it was overreacting with an immune response, causing the rash, is what a lot of these researchers told us.
I
That's
mean,
so
that's
interesting.
me.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I can't do like a lot of antibiotics like at all. I mean, like not even I can't do like I have such a low tolerance to antibiotics at this point. Like we'll get there as well, but like I don't know if you're familiar with SIBO, small intestinal
Oh
bacterial
yeah.
overgrowth. That's something that I deal with as well. And like those antibiotics are really harsh. They use like rifaximin. They use the one that starts with an N-I. I forget, but those like literally I will just puke them up. Like my body does not tolerate. And I notice a lot of my Lyme symptoms will flare up when I have another infection. But obviously, of course,
Yep.
like a lot of doctors will just be like, oh, well, you know what, you're Western blot at this point, you have no antibodies present. It's not the Lyme's not flaring up. There's nothing. It's dormant. We're good. Which I mean,
Don't get me
yeah.
started on testing, Juge. Come on, don't get me down that path
Yeah,
because we're gonna get there.
we should get there because we haven't gotten to there yet. Okay. So wait, so yeah, so then I was getting rashes, then like I was just getting strep a lot, like meaning like like you said, my immune system was literally being attacked, like all at the same time. Like weird, never had a problem with gluten, like you know what I'm saying, like it can't even be possible that all these things would like coincide at once. Then I made it to like junior year. Oh, I will say no, I did start developing insomnia. I forgot that, like severe insomnia, 7th, 8th grade. Like would not sleep for days, would take Benadryl before going to school the night before so I would like get some rest. So that was like one of the first signs of like this seems like a larger issue than a GI issue or like an infection that caused like my lymph node to swell that like resolved. Then it wasn't until I think junior year, I think things got really bad in high school. Very quick, like I am very just like if anything ADHD and was just having a hard time retaining information, which like was not like me, brain fog. Um I'm trying to think of what the rashes were constant. Like I literally was just like always. I mean, you can't see it, but I had to get a steroid because it always comes back. And I had a flare a few weeks ago of a rash. That's why I keep pointing here. You're like, what are you pointing at? Like I get it around my eyes, especially when my immune system's down. Like it'll just be like, whoa. Anywho, it wasn't until 2017 got a positive Western blot. At that point, though, too, it was like,
How old
I
are you in
mean,
2017?
17. I was
So okay, so you're
17.
17, you're still in high school. You're just want to kind of just paint the picture. So you're in high school, you're getting insomnia, you're having new symptoms, brain fog. You go to the doctor,
Joint pain. I'm sorry, I
joint
forgot.
pain. Okay, so
And
you
sweating, yeah, like heat intolerance.
night sweats.
Bad, yeah.
Okay, so here's the thing, and this you're really triggering me as far as
Also,
all my
fever
awareness thing.
throughout this that nobody could like pinpoint to what, like fever.
Right.
You
And
know.
here's the thing. A lot of these symptoms exist across multiple tick-borne infections. And it's hard to identify as the fever from Lyme or Babesia or Bartonella, right? That's hard. But when you're experiencing night sweats, that's the hallmark symptom
Yep,
of Babesia. When you're
yep.
experiencing the rash of the cat scratch, right, or the stretch marks or the lines,
Bartonella.
that's the hallmark of Bartonella. And
Yep.
when you're experiencing these rashes like bullseyes, that's the hallmark of Lyme disease, which right off the bat is saying you probably were infected at various points of your life, I'm guessing, right? Or you could have been one tick bite because we know many ticks in the Northeast have multiple pathogens that can be spread. But
Yeah.
you clearly have 3 infections. And even if you weren't diagnosed, I'm self-diagnosing
Well,
you with
I was,
Bartonella,
and
Lyme, and
I was gonna say
Babesia all right here.
you guessed, and I was diagnosed with all three. I did
All
the
three.
three, all three, yeah.
So,
I don't have any sort of like some friends I see have like, was it Rocky Mountain? Like I don't have
yeah.
any of those, but I have the three Bs: Borrelia, Babesia, Bartonella.
Okay. So it sounds like once you went to the doctor, it was a pretty quick diagnosis. So, what kind of doctor did you see? And then who brought up Lyme? You or the doctor?
Well, I want to get the order of this right. That's what I'm saying. My memory, to be honest, around this time isn't so great. That was like when I said retaining information, kind of what I was struggling with. But at first, I think it was Children's Hospital. Literally, like I was at Children's Hospital, Pennsylvania, because like literally, like my joints, especially specifically my fingers and toes, like I just something was really, really wrong. And I think that's where I got the first Western blot. And I was lucky enough that my mom had a functional medicine doctor she really trusted with her Hashimoto's. So I was able to get testing that, like, you know, like how hard it is to test for the other co-infections, that I was able to see a functional medicine doctor. And I think I got an IGeneX test, like, was one of my first tests,
Okay.
which
So,
I'm
couple
lucky.
factors. Your mom has Hashimoto's, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, your mom has an autoimmune disease.
Yeah.
Now, you get a tick-borne infection, you get very sick at a young age. So I think this is another important concept. When we see young people that are 17 years old, and I myself was in my early 20s, exhibiting these autoimmune-like symptoms that normally wouldn't arise till later in life, even if it were genetics, right? That's another sign and hint that tick-borne infections are involved. And this is something very common we've discussed with many researchers and many doctors, that if somebody has it in their family, they're presenting with autoimmune, and look, we can debate, is it really autoimmune disease? Is it an infection? I have my own views, but putting all that aside, if you're presenting with these inflammatory symptoms that are representative of various autoimmune diseases, that's a sign of there's probably something else bringing it on at such a young age, because most likely you wouldn't have had it until you were older, even if it ever would have presented
I
in
did have
you.
like mono. So there was a few things. Like I had mono, like I think it manifested at a time in my life. Like you said, I think I got bit at a really young age and my body was able to withstand it for a bit. And then I got mono. I had a close friend in high school pass away. There was just like I was just stressed. I moved across the country at 17 around like this time, and I had to move back home. So that was like a whole thing too. So like there was a lot of stress. Like I got my GED, left high school early, like moved across the country, didn't know no one, like had a full-time nannying job, like a lot going on, and my body just like could not keep up.
Okay, but let's just quickly talk about some of that. So mono is a virus that never leaves your body. It's something that you live with
I
forever
do
and you
have
manage.
Epstein-Barr virus too. Yeah, I have EBV.
EBV is the virus that causes mono, and then it stays with you. And then if you're immune compromised or sick with something else, it becomes active and it can be debilitating on its own. Generally, activated Epstein-Barr virus is another clue that something is bringing it out and compromising the immune system, like Lyme disease, right, or co-infection. So all these things kind of together are clues for your doctor to play detective to help get you a diagnosis. So
you would hope. You would hope.
You would hope, right? And that's why I think it's important to know for everybody listening to have this kind of awareness. But talk a little bit about your stress, because you said that you grew up in Pennsylvania, but you were bouncing. I think you said Brazil. Is that where?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't contribute that to the stress because it was at a very young age, that part. But like I
Okay.
said, like working in theater my entire life, like I just decided that like college for me wouldn't be the route in terms of like, I don't know, I just felt like getting a degree in something like that and then ending up with a ton of like, I don't know. Oh, oops, did you guys
Nope. Ah,
We
Kiana, we're
lost
still
her.
here. So, Kiana, can you just quickly weigh in if you don't mind while she's
Yeah, of
reconnecting? Because I'm
course.
just going to keep this thing going. So we got a good groove going here. So
Yeah, no, we do. Keep it going.
Kiana, you met Juge shortly after this time, right? So when did you first meet Juge, and how did you get into the mix here?
So I had met Jude, like she said, around I would say late. Oh, she's back.
She's here.
Basically, I had met
Wait,
her
guys,
around.
so sorry. How do I turn it off so when somebody calls, I'm on my mom.
Do
Do
not
not
disturb.
Okay. Oh my God. Worries.
All right, Juge, we're having too much fun. For everybody listening, we just paused the recording and we're laughing a little bit, so that's why. So, Juge, thanks for coming back, and we're gonna come back to Kiana and explain how she integrates into your story and how she's become a close personal friend, and now part of what you guys are doing to help other people. But just let's finish that up, because you were talking about your stress and how moving and bouncing around wasn't really contributing to your stress. It was the stress of, do I want to go to college? Do I want to burden myself with all this debt? And what do I want to do? And it sounds like that was pretty stressful for you at that time of your life.
Yeah, so I think I chose like a very untraditional route. I am first generation American, so I feel like it's not uncommon. Like my mom did above and beyond what I did, moved across, speaking a different language at 18, no means whatsoever, moved to a different country. And I mean, I just moved across the United States, California, to pursue my dreams in like music, acting, etc. And I found a nanny job online. I found like a full-time job online before I got there. I found a roommate online. I knew no one. So like I literally was like kind of went in blind. And like obviously there was stress in that decision of itself, like having to create a whole new life outside of my comfort zone at 17 in a faraway place. And then I also had a few other contributing factors at that time. And I was there and my health really took a turn for the worse. Like I said, I was working full time. I was a kid essentially at 17, like full-time nanny for three other kids. And at that point, few months in, it got really bad, like passing out spells. So that's when I started, like I never really had passed out before, but I was passing out, the rashes came back really bad. Like my eyes would like swell, wasn't sleeping, and couldn't even drive anymore. So that's when we made the decision for me to go. I'm sorry, it's so like like thinking back to all this, I don't know if I went to Cedars first or if I went back to Children's Hospital Pennsylvania, but I
Before
went
we
back
go
to
there,
that.
can we
Yeah.
pause there real quick? Because before we get into that second round, I wanted to focus a little bit more on. So you were at, I think you said
Yeah.
Boston's Children's Hospital. Is that true?
No, Children's Hospital Pennsylvania CHOP.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just Children's Hospital, Pennsylvania, and that's who diagnosed you because you were so sick, right? With the Western blot. Is that true?
I got a positive Western blot there, but like I mean the only option I was given was antibiotics, and because it just like I don't know, it's like your standard story. Yeah.
So how did they treat you though? What did they give you? Did they give you like a standard course of doxycycline for what? How long?
I would have to ask. I did get antibiotics, but I don't remember how long. Every single place that I had gone to, obviously, of course, they're gonna give me the antibiotics. Yeah, it was
Okay.
doxycycline. I've been on doxycycline before. Yes, it was, so I don't know how long.
Okay, so you got diagnosed with Lyme, Bartonella, Babesia from the
Nope,
Children's Hospital. No?
no. Children's Hospital, just Lyme.
Just Lyme. Okay. They give you doxy and they ship you home and say you should be good. Is that true so far? But you weren't good, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
and I couldn't walk up and down steps that
So
bad.
you
I've never
couldn't
been that.
you
Yeah.
couldn't walk up and down the stairs, but they still sent you home and told you were cured.
That I would be. Yeah.
That you would be. Okay. And that again, unfortunately, that's the sad story we hear so many times on this podcast. So I'm not surprised to hear, but I'm continuously saddened to hear the same story over and over again. But okay, so now you're home and you're doing all this
So
work. You're
I moved back, like meaning like I was living in LA, back at Children's Hospital, moved back home to figure it out. Like I couldn't care for myself and I also couldn't like work. So like I couldn't afford to and like it didn't make sense for me to be in LA. So I had to move back home, which was really disheartening because I think a lot of people already kind of expected it not to work out for me in LA. So like to move back home very shortly after was kind of almost in my mind proving them right that it was like a hard mental
right.
thing.
And that emotional stress is just weighing
Yeah.
on it. And when you're stressed emotionally, it's going to cause your immune system to be more weakened. And right, it's just perpetuating that illness cycle. So everything is connected here, unfortunately. So now you get out of the hospital, you're moving back, you're back home because you can't really take care of yourself and you're getting worse,
Mhm.
right? That's kind of where I think you just were. And then you went
Mhm.
back to another hospital, right? That kind of bridging that gap there or no?
No, so sorry, like the amount of hospital visits too. So after the second time when I went to Children's Hospital when I was back living at home, I kind of decided to take matters into my own hands. Like there's obviously at this point not many resources, but like Yolanda Hadid at that point, 2017, 2018, already had a book out of like her experience with Lyme. So I was trying some like smaller things like the as for anti-inflammatory, because how bad my joints were, I went on a strict grain-free diet. Like literally at this point too, like I had no appetite. And each time, which my worst other health like stretch was in 2020, and each time I got down to 90 pounds, which for me is like crazy. And like, of course, they're gonna
She's
be like,
5 foot, mind you. Like 90 pounds at
yeah.
her size is literally like sickly.
Ugh, I'm sorry.
So, yeah, no, it's okay. But I will say, like, for anyone who has like any sort of like joint issues or RA or anything, the anti-inflammatory diet that I did do, it wasn't what was making me lose weight at all, obviously, but it actually helped me start eating again. And because it like for my gut, it wasn't like an issue because I feel like the antibiotics screwed up my gut so much. But what I will say as well, my joints helped a lot with my joints. And I know that sounds crazy, but specifically the anti-inflammatory diet, doing like
Was
grain-free helped a lot.
was there a name to that diet, or is there something you can share so people can find it, or just a straight up anti-inflammatory diet on Google?
No grains, like literally, like I really contribute like going strictly. Like I personally, because I'm already gluten free, I can't live grain free. It's not realistic for me. But like when I flare that bad, going limiting my grains, oats, rice, all those things. I think corn specifically, that's highly inflammatory. I think it's
Yeah.
really important when you're already kind of compromised in that aspect, inflammatory wise.
Okay, so quick question. If somebody listening is in a bad flare and they're in a similar situation as you were at your worst, what is a typical diet that you think would be healthy to get good vitamins, nutrients, protein, but also not have inflammation? So no grains, maybe no gluten. Walk us through what a day's worth of meals would look like if you can.
So I obviously will get there, but like at this point still I'm 17. So this was really the beginning of my journey. I'm 25 now and like a lot has happened with my health. Like Lyme, as you know, is a roller coaster. It's caused a lot of other problems in my body and I've been diagnosed with other things that I personally I think have to derive from Lyme. There's no possibility that someone has this many problems respectfully and that it like I
We
mean
used to make a
obviously
joke. Wait, tell them the joke. You're like,
I'm like I
there's
would
no
have to be the most unlucky person in
unluckiest
the
girl in the world.
which I feel
Wait.
like the luckiest girl in the world with all the support and everything I have, but I'm saying like for these doctors to categorize these like other issues I have, like the POTS, the epilepsy, all these things which we'll get to, I'm like, guys, like this can't possibly be separate issues that you are texting me positive for, and for me to have like this wide list of diagnosis, this has to be coming from an autoimmune. It's just annoying when they won't like call it chronic
Yes.
Lyme. Yes. Anywho, but back
Well,
to the diet. Yeah.
well, before that, I just want to share two comments. We had somebody tell us that they told their doctor, "What you're telling me is I am so unlucky that if I were
Yes.
walking down the street, I would have two pianos full on me in the same trip from my house a mile down the block. Literally two pianos falling out of buildings, landing on my head. It's not possible, right?" So we had people
Wait,
share all
that's
kinds of
actually
crazy stories.
hilarious. So
No,
they
it's
yeah,
so true though.
it's just it's unrealistic. I'm just like, guys, like
Also, a
Okay.
lot of these attack different parts of the body. So mind you, like how would you have the most random symptoms that don't even coexist in the same way? Like how would that all just come together? Like
Yes.
just make it make sense, you know?
Yeah. And we had, so the second thought I wanted to share was we had Colonel Malachowski, Nicole Malachowski, at the Project Labcoat at New York Fashion Week. We interviewed her as well. And one of the things, I don't know if you caught on to that while we were doing it, but one of the things she was talking about was she just got a report published with the National Academies of Science. And the report is recognizing chronic Lyme for the first time. And they're calling it Lyme infection associated chronic illness, IACI. So IACI. So it's the term that the federal government has adopted that doesn't have all the controversy and the drama behind it that chronic
I'm
Lyme
so
does.
sick and it's so just
So
not even like
it
that big. Like,
is crap, but it is good that they're recognizing those. So
yeah,
they're saying chronic Lyme is
finally.
real, and we're going to call it Lyme infection associated chronic illness. You got a Lyme infection and you became chronically ill. How is that different than chronic Lyme? I don't know,
Well,
but
what
it's
they
the
would
same
call it for me
thing.
at the hospital, the only way that they would ever be able to, because it's got to a point which we'll get there to in 2020. It's like, guys, like I'm here with POTS, which so many people with Bartonella experience and like all these other things that, like you said, they can't. And this is after I would do another round of antibiotics. So it's like, guys, this is why I'm here. And the only thing that they would do, and this was 2020, they called it post-symptomatic Lyme disease. They would do that, but they would never call it chronic.
You never heard
Post-symptomatic.
it. What about post-treatment Lyme? Have you ever been called that? I've had that a lot. Post-treatment Lyme disease syndrome, because that was a CDC recommended term for like the last 2 years.
Hmm.
PTLDS, they call it, post-treatment Lyme disease syndrome. But the word syndrome implies a disease of no known origin, right? So it's like, hey, a syndrome is something we don't even recognize the origin. But you're saying if it's from Lyme disease, you know the origin, which was like an insulting term in itself. But the bottom line is we all want proper coverage, we all want proper recognition, and we all just want to feel better. So I'm at a point where call it whatever the frick you want to call it.
That's
just
what
just
I feel
let's get the
like
money, the
too.
research, the care, the recognition, so I can feel better and have a better quality of
But
life,
having
right?
to beat
That's
around the bush to be like, I think that's like something that bothers me. It's like I feel like I have a little medical PTSD over is like going to the hospital for something that I believe Lyme caused. Like I said, which we'll get to, is like I have seizures, I obviously have the POTS, like a lot of things that I don't think I would have had if it wasn't for Lyme. And when I have to go to the hospital with this, I mean, I've been with my boyfriend for 4 years, and like it took him a while because he's so sweet and he would try to interject and be like, and also because like sometimes you don't even want to bring up the Lyme disease because I'm like, I'm here for something else and they're gonna think I'm crazy because like the way that they treat people, and then
yep,
they're gonna dismiss me, and then they're not gonna like admit me and actually look into what the heck is going on. So sometimes I had to like, and he's learned, but like I'm just like, as nice it is because he like wants to advocate for me. I'm like, the more I bring up the Lyme, sometimes the less likely they are to like hear me out.
yep. It's true. It's true. There's a stigma out there. So I want to get to those specific details. We'll circle
Oh,
back
the
to
diet. Sorry.
if you could just give me some good diet ideas for a very low inflammatory diet that can help with
Hmm.
joint pain, inflammation, something that's a really
Yes.
nice idea for people to try if they're really struggling with their health
Yes.
right now.
Would
I
you
feel like I have
recommend like
specifics.
like the like avoiding like high histamines? Things
I
with
don't
like
think not necessarily if no one has if you don't have an MCAS problem, I wouldn't recommend that for anti-inflammatory specifically. But I feel like I have specifics like for anti-inflammatory specifically. Like Kiana doesn't have Lyme, but like I think a lot of people made the mistake when it first came out because people were like, "Oh my God, oat milk, awesome!" But like oat is so highly inflammatory that like I think you're way better off if you have to have milk anyway and you can't have, let's say, regular milk, just to have the almond milk. Like oat milk, it literally makes people like face puffy, like they
I didn't
retain.
believe her. I literally did not believe her when she said it because I was like, how is it? It's better than milk, right? No, I had a moon face for years and I didn't realize until maybe like a month after oat milk, I looked in the mirror and I was like, oh my God, my inflammation in my face went down like 50%. Like it
Yeah.
completely went away. And she noticed it because we were living together. And I was like, why have I not known this my whole life? And that
That's
was something that
crazy.
made a
And
huge change.
popcorn. Kiana eats a lot of popcorn, but what's it called? She's gotten a lot better at it. What's it
Yeah,
called?
I have.
Corn specifically. It never affected you, but like a lot of people who do have to worry about like inflammation specifically, corn was a big one for me. I noticed that like I'm not just not popcorn, but I'm saying anything with like specifically corn. I would have to be like chips with corn. Like I'd be very careful of having that. I would rather do like an almond flour. Like Siete has great like cassava. Um, what are they called? Roll. What is it called? Like oh,
It's
tortilla.
like
Like for
croissant tortilla.
tortilla, I would swap that out with like a cassava or a flour. For even pasta or tortillas, all those like carb things, I wouldn't do anything with grains if you can. For me, that's why I mentioned the other issues is like for me, it's really important for me to get a lot of red meat. I'm very iron deficient. And I'm prescribed like my doctor gives me iron infusions. And I think that's helped. I'm not quite sure because of my celiac, I can't really absorb the supplements. I don't like I go back and test and I'm still like nourished in iron, I guess. But I will say red meat's really important for me. That's controversial though. I'm gonna be honest. Like some people don't do really well with like meat, but I personally like I don't know if you know, do you know Dan from GLA?
Dan Wagner?
Yes,
Yeah.
he swears by a ketogenic diet. I don't
Oh,
know
I
if you've
love
had him on.
Dan. Dan
Have you had
is,
him on the podcast?
oh yeah. Yeah.
Has he talked about his
Dan the buddy.
ketogenic? He's obsessed with
Yes.
keto.
Yes. Oh, we talked about it. And we've had some very diehard keto people on here. And look, we've had people that said it's changed their lives. They went from being not able to leave their home to having their life back and at the gym and, feeling like they're normal. So I think, unfortunately, there's no one size fits all answer because of all the things going on, right? What's
Hmm.
active? Is it EBV and Lyme and Bartonella
That's
and
what I'm
Babesia like for
saying.
you versus
Yeah.
other things? So, it all plays a role, but I do think it's worthwhile to try. And we always like to use this. There's the risk factor. So how risky is something to try? And if it's not risky, like, hyperthermia has a little bit higher risk, right?
I
Or
can't do the
maybe,
hyperthermia because my seizures. So I really wanted
right.
to do the hyperthermia. Yeah.
Well, that's a great point. So you would never do that, right? So even like stem cells is another thing. There's risks if you have MCAS and you're prone to
Yep.
inflammation and histamines.
That's
The stem cells can actually have an adverse effect because they're going to cause more inflammation and you're going to potentially have psychosis, right? All these things we've learned from doctors. But if the risk is low and you do your research and talk to the right people, what harm is it to try a high red meat diet? And if you don't respond well, just pull back, right? So I
I would
feel like
definitely
those things.
Mm.
Oh,
Oh,
sorry, Kiana.
I was gonna say definitely because I think she should definitely get on this topic. It's been a very recent like topic of conversation with us a lot is hormones. Male and female is
yeah. Oh
also
my
a big
God.
distinction. I feel like our bodies regulate hormones differently. We need certain things differently than men need. And I feel like that's also a huge thing that I've noticed, like diet wise too. Me, I don't have Lyme, but at the same time, like I'll notice me and my partner, like we need different things at different parts of the
Yep.
at different parts of my cycle. So someone like her, any women who deal with Lyme disease, I feel like that also plays into it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've had a ton of people on that speak about hormones, and especially in the female
Oh, it's
patient.
like the biggest thing. I really do think it's that and thyroid. I think thyroid is
Yes.
affected a lot by Lyme. Yeah.
So a couple keywords, and we've had some people on. So we even talked to Dr. Gordon about it. We're having him on for the long form. We had him on at the Fashion Week as well. But he's a big advocate of bioidentical hormones. And we've had like the leaders of
Yes,
the space of
yes. I'm
bioidentical
sorry. I'm huge
hormones.
on this. I'm
Yes.
huge on. I
So
can't wait to talk. Go ahead,
okay.
please.
So well, jump in, please. Share what your thoughts are because I've
I
never
can't
tried
do.
them.
Well, what type? I'm talking about progesterone specifically. And I will
Yeah.
talk about estradiol and progesterone. So, my experience, I was on the pill for 11 years, synthetic estrogen and progesterone. Controlled like period pain and all of that. My skin, great, all of that. I had when I say insomnia was like my worst symptom, like of Lyme, one of the worst, like the sweats and the insomnia. Like it was like I was on every single prescription known to man. Like the doctors could not get me to sleep. I'd be up for days on end. I've been on every single benzo. I've been on Ambien. Like they put me on every prescription to knock me out. And for some reason, my cortisol was just through the fucking roof. I'm sorry, I don't know if I was allowed to curse. It was
That's
through the
okay. You're
roof.
good. Yeah.
Okay, it was through the roof. We can edit. But then like no one ever made the connection. The amount of doctors and sleep studies and things that I've done for the like agony I had to go through of 10 years of not sleeping. I will say like it not sleeping, you have no idea, especially when
It
your
was
body's
one
already
of the worst, yeah, symptoms, especially traveling. Like what we do for work. Like this poor girl's literally going plane to plane, place to place. Like she's a touring artist, and literally like she can't sleep. Like that's torture. How
my
are you
body
gonna get on
can't
the stage?
heal when I'm that sick. And so that was the worst. I felt like I was like, it was a nightmare that I didn't get to like have like an 8 hour break from that most people did to like restore. And I felt like that delayed my healing. Then
100%.
randomly got off the pill, like meaning like it was actually because they tested my blood and they saw that my estradiol was like through the roof. And I got decided to get off the pill this year. I was like, you know what? Let me just get off the pill. I have not had a sleeping problem since getting off synthetic hormones. And then I tried getting on just a progestin only synthetic hormone, all came back. The lack of sleep, the sweats, all messed it up again. So now, because of my seizures, the problem is my hormones are so dysregulated from all of my issues that I have to probably be on something. I literally just saw the doctor for this today, but I'm gonna try prometrium. I really only trust bioidentical. Synthetic has messed me up so bad.
Yeah, and there's a lot of work being put into this, and a lot of just like we're talking about the carnivore diet. There's a lot of people out there that are doctors and patients that swear by bioidentical hormones. Daisy White's another one. She's in California as well. I don't know if you know Daisy. She actually worked with you, the Hadids. You mentioned them earlier. She
Mhm.
was, I think, their health coach. So she's a huge advocate of this, along with who's the other guy we've interviewed down there? Oh man, I'm drawing a blank. But there's a couple of we have a doctors page on our website that has
Oh,
all the
cool.
doctors that have been on the podcast. And there's several of them that really focus on bioidentical hormones and get into the science and geek out over it as well.
Well,
But
some people recommend it for a whole month. Everyone's body's different. Some are recommended to take 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. It's depending on what it's for.
yeah. So I do want to get back. So let's come back to where we were. So you're still, you're 17, right? Let's go back to that part.
Oh yeah.
You're in and out of the hospital, the children's hospital. You get a diagnosis. You're on antibiotics. You're not getting better. You're stressed because now you're back home and you feel like a failure, which again is totally valid to feel that way. And then it's just amplifying and you're not getting better. So you decide I have to do
Yes.
something. I'm going to go to another hospital. I think you were talking about going to a different hospital at this time, right?
I definitely went to one in LA. Same thing. It's just like, to be honest, antibiotics, any place I went was my only real option. And then I went to a doctor that was in California before I went back to Children's Hospital. But my last time at Children's Hospital, Pennsylvania, I think we kind of got the point that like I said, my mom was so important to me at that time. Like I could barely think. I don't know if you have any symptoms of like neurological Lyme disease yourself, but like I wasn't really even able to make decisions for myself at that point. And my mom, like bless her heart, is like it honestly like I can't even like think about like what she had to go through as a parent watching that. Because like I was a kid that it's not like I was like not that there's anything wrong with having mental, but like I had never had any sort of depression issues and I physically couldn't function. So then my mom was reading all these books, taking matters into her own hands. So then there's a guy, I don't remember his name. He's a doctor in Westchester, Pennsylvania, and he has more of like a what is the word? I'm sorry, not naturopathic, but he's
Like
like a
integrative.
yeah, integrative medicine. So like the people that will do like LDN, like I'm sure you know
Yeah.
of, like all these things. And it wasn't till I saw him and like I'm not for me personally, I haven't really like resonated with just naturopathic medicine and healing my Lyme. That's not been something that's worked for me. But integrative medicine has been like so important for me. And then also having Western medicine specialists for like the problems that Lyme has caused within other areas. But I went to him and he put me on like a ton of supplements and I've tried like LDN to reduce inflammation. I've tried ketotifen because I do have MCAS too. And all these things, like I don't want to like spare your time with every single thing I did because I'm going to be honest, a lot of them were trial and error. Like I'll point out some for me. I thought I didn't try it till the end until Limelight Foundation gave me the grant because it wasn't something that was affordable for me. But as of recent, I tried, what is it? Ozone. And
Oh,
Ozone.
so
that's
interesting.
that felt like a band-aid. It for me, it didn't personally feel like something that because I also it's expensive and it's like if you like do it for a little and then stop, it felt like it like gave me a little boost, but I for myself didn't see much of that. It was really when I realized the continuous work that was going to have to be done alongside of supporting my body with other things like antimicrobials. I'm very big I love antimicrobials. Um making sure that my MCAS and hormones are under control and red light therapy and then sweating is huge. Like I didn't realize like the effects. Like I when you feel like shit, you don't I'm not going to exercise. Like I'm not really able to exercise, so I don't even think I want to go in a sauna and I already have heat intolerance. But when I was forced to sweat, first of all, I couldn't sweat because my what are they called? My
That was
pathways.
weird.
Like
I
this
remember that. That was
this happens to me
crazy.
so many times over the course of all these years. My detox pathways, when I get sick again, they'll close up because it's been so long. And that's when I know, like, oh shoot, like I am just like allowing this shit to circulate through my body. And I always feel better when I sweat. I also was one of the people that's I don't know if you know Nikki, it used to be the Nikki device, the red light
Oh,
watch.
yes. Yeah.
They sent me
We
one so I did get to try that and I did have a good experience with that. I will say I feel like I had that along with a lot of other treatments I was doing that was helpful at the time. But um yeah.
that's Free Medica. So Free Medica
Free Medica,
invented the
yes.
Wave One and the Wave Two, which is what Yolanda Hadid used when she got diagnosed early on, but it was a prototype. Then they came out with the Wave device. Then they came out with the Nikki. We interviewed the founder and creator of it, and it was fascinating to hear because you think like essentially it's frequency based technology where these frequencies are
Hmm.
supposed to help kill the bacteria, and they equate it to sort of like Rife, right, where the
Yes.
frequency can go in and like how an opera singer can shatter glass. Well, the frequency can shatter and destroy Lyme disease or different bacteria and viruses at different frequencies that are configured into the machine. And I'll tell you, a lot of people have had success with it. So, at first, I'm like,
I
this
will
sounds
say that's what I was
odd.
gonna say. I was very skeptical. Like I'm gonna be honest. I'm always gonna
I'll
give
be
like an
honest, I
honest
was
feedback.
too.
I was so skeptical. The first night I tried it, because I literally I'm just it's very me. I'm very realistic. They said start with 1 hour. I'm like, okay. So I did 4 hours. I just kept clicking it. Woke up in the middle of the night. Joke you not, I slept. I was sleeping at my mom's at that just like that night. Thank God I was dripped in sweat. I'm literally not making this up. I literally wouldn't expect anything to happen. Dripped in sweat, the worst brain fog over the toilet, felt like dizzy and was like literally having like it's hard to explain, but I was having like this almost like fight or flight, like panic for no reason. Like it was like that.
Do you think it was a
Um,
herx? Do you think that it was actually killing the
yes.
bacteria and that was a herx, right? An inflammatory die-off.
100%. Like I'm 100%. I will say though, like, right now I haven't used it in a while and I went through they have like a whole program. Like I did it for a few months and I was doing a lot of other things. So the problem with me is I do a lot of things at once that it's hard to pinpoint what really turns the needle. But since I've had a little bit of a problem, like my flare's been really bad the past month or two, I did get back to the watch. So I'll report if it helps the second time because some people, from other users that I've spoken to, it really, I mean, I will say the fact that it will flare that up. It will flare that up with the red light. It will.
Yeah. So, but I think you're touching on a few key points here. So we've interviewed almost 600 people on the podcast. We've spoken to thousands of people in the community, and we've identified patterns to a successful healing journey. Not to say do this and you're going to get better, but just patterns. And I think you're kind of in alignment with what we've identified, which is before you get into kill, like the antimicrobial side of things, you have to start with the foundations. You have to be able to sleep. You have to be able to sweat.
Yeah,
You have to get your body ready for the treatment. And if you don't do
that's
that, you're
very
not going
true.
to have a successful treatment protocol. In fact, it may harm you. We've had people tell us they jumped right in to aggressive IV antibiotics. They had seizures and it put them into a wheelchair, right? It set them back even further.
Yeah, that literally
So
what happened with me with antibiotics. Oh,
okay,
unfortunately.
so you
Yeah.
got to tell us that. I won't get into the rest of our framework, but it sounds like you agree that you got to get your body ready for the treatment. You have to detox, you have to sleep, you have to get your mental health ready. You have to
Yeah.
just support your body from a vitamin and a hormone standpoint. You have to make sure you're addressing
Yeah.
potentially toxins in your body, right? All those things, and then ease
Mold.
into
Make
treating
sure that you're not
mold,
living in a mold. Yeah, exactly. I
heavy
dealt with
metals,
mold.
right?
Yeah, I've dealt with mold. One thing that helped me, which is actually a prescription, which people would probably be surprised, cholestyramine. That's used when
Yep.
like I don't know if you know of it. Yeah, when a
Yep.
lot of other binders like charcoal or the other ones aren't doing the job. Oh, that does the job. And especially if you take it, I forget the protocol, but I would definitely do it around. Make sure you're sweating. Oh my God, you know what I'm saying? If you're not sweating, but cholestyramine, did you use that?
I haven't, but we've heard it often from people that are
Mm,
that it's a very helpful protocol. And again, I think this is one of those things where it's very low risk, right? You're not sure if you need it. Are you exposed to mold? Are you exposed to heavy metals? And this is where I feel like you can just try it. And if you feel like it's having a benefit, or even if you're responding negatively to it, why am I responding negatively? Is it too aggressive? Is it binding too many of the toxins and it's causing inflammation because they're being pulled out of my system? And it gives you data to make informed decisions about what's going on in your
yeah,
body, especially when it's low risk. So these are things that are really good tips for people that are listening to kind
yeah,
of navigate these little things that are popping up,
true.
right?
Yeah, no, that's very true. But yeah, in 2020, kind of like, so basically, I was able to, and like, forgive me for my memory. I know I tell stories. I don't know if it's my brain fog or if it's an ADHD thing. I tell stories not in chronological order. So I feel bad that I wasn't able to give like a detailed list of things I did, but I mean, it didn't really work in 2017. It did come back, and not that Lyme is something that we don't have a cure for it now, so it's a thing that you can put in remission. But I was able to do a lot better in 2018, 2019 through a variety of different things, and medication and supplements that I was trying and treatments. And then in 2020, out of nowhere,
Before you get to
with
2020, if I had to ask you a question,
yeah.
if I said to you, what were the top 2 or 3 things that you found the most effective in your treatment
Mm,
protocol, not just from killing the bacteria, but just from a symptom improvement standpoint, what were those 2 or 3 things be?
Um, from a symptom standpoint.
Yeah,
It's really hard. I feel like it's been like 10 years of this. So I'm trying to think. I mean, first and foremost, like you said, you do have to get your body ready, but like the antimicrobials, antifungals, even like there is time for antibiotics. I hate to like because I know like I myself, you know what I'm saying? Like I know that antibiotics aren't the end all be all answer, but like there is a time and place for it.
for sure.
Um, And the second thing, I did have a big problem with mold, and I don't think it was until I addressed that and really got that out of the way that my Lyme was even able to be put into a state of remission. So
Yeah,
meaning like yeah.
but I think that's really important. That's really important because if you don't address the mold, you can spend so much money treating Lyme, and it's never going to be that effective in many patients, right?
Yeah.
So I had a fun debate with a doctor. I forget who it was. We've had so many. One of the doctors we had on, and I said to him, I go, you can't just address mold and expect to feel better. I'm like, what do you mean? And he pushed me. He goes, no, Matt, everybody's different. He said, so, don't forget, our immune systems were built to protect us. And if somebody has Lyme disease and mold toxicity weakens the immune system. And if I can detox the mold and I can remove the chronic exposure to the mold in the workplace, in the home, and then detox the body of that mold, your immune system might be able to then go back to a normal state and then push the Lyme back down, just like your body does with EBV. And you might have a symptom-free life. And it doesn't mean I'm not going to continue to do things to make you healthier, but I've had patients that I've treated the mold and they tell me they feel normal again. He goes, but I keep making them healthier. He goes, but there's different situations, different people. I'm like, I never thought about it that way, right? So you got to really kind of go in this order, which is why to get your body ready for treatment is so important, because maybe if you get the mold addressed, you might not even need an aggressive Lyme protocol. It's just going to be more of a maintenance
A
kind
lot
of
of
let's
them will
decrease the
cross over
microbial load.
too. A lot
Yeah.
of them will cross over. Like right now with my SIBO, it's like I need to go back to addressing the Lyme, but like a lot of berberine, a lot of these like antimicrobials, they will touch on both. And I will tell you a band-aid I used that like did help me get through, because I'll be honest, I did not have, that's what I'm saying. Even this time when like I don't want to give any misinformation because I didn't have it figured out. I tried everything, and I really think until I took a step back and like you said, did it from like a foundational perspective, that's when I got it. But I was using prednisone to be able to get through life. Like meaning like,
Yeah.
and they would give it to me. They would give me the steroid and it
Well,
worked.
let's talk about that, Juge, because I was on steroids as well. We
Yeah.
have a very similar journey. I had debilitating seizures, paralysis. I mean, I was taken out of work in an ambulance. They had to stop and get anticonvulsives because they couldn't get the seizures under control. They told me I had a brain tumor, all kinds of crazy stuff. So our stories are very much in alignment. But
Very
I
similar.
feel when I was put on the steroids because of basically systemic inflammation that they couldn't figure out what it was after a Lyme diagnosis, before I really started taking boot camp and I knew all about this stuff, I really believe for me personally that although I had temporary symptom relief because it masked the symptoms, the immune suppressing effects of the steroids set me back a year in my healing journeys. How I
Oh, I
feel
won't touch
personally.
it
How
for
do you feel?
years. 100%. I won't touch it for like it's been years now, but I did the Decadron, the prednisone, and Kiana will say though, she was there for a lot of those experiences. Like to be honest, our career as a duo and when things really we started and like it's the first thing that I think I've been a part of, because like we were both doing music separately, but like when we started our duo, everything clicked and we were just thrown into like this fast pace journey really quick, and I wasn't in the best state of health, and she knows anytime that like because I'm just not someone to say no. It would be like ask her, it was like, where's the prednisone? I need to go to an urgent care to be able to get through this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's countless times where after literally a show, she'll go to the hospital. It happens so many times, and also too, like, not to put anyone on blast, I won't name names. A lot of people in our industry don't get it. Like, they don't get how this works. Like, they don't understand or have like the ability to empathize with how this works because they just have no idea what she means when she says Lyme disease. Like, it was never Juge. To be honest, I'm so proud of her for it because I think that she's owned it. She's found her confidence in it and she's helping so many people now because of it. But I think for her, she struggled for a while because it's like you
I
tell
don't tell
someone,
anyone. Yeah, I
yeah,
don't
you
tell
tell someone you have Lyme disease. She was like, I don't want them to think I can't do it.
Yeah.
And I just was like, if they think you can't do it because you have Lyme disease, they're not the people to support you. Like it's just like that's like not what it is. I was like, you don't miss anything. You show up. Even if you're sick, you show up. So you need the right support system when you're
Yeah.
sick because you're gonna show up anyway. It's who you are. It's who she is. Juju will always show up, and that's something that I always appreciate about her. Sometimes I'll tell her go home, but she'll still show up.
Oh, in the middle of a show, Kiana has honestly, Kiana, do you want to wait? Tell if you want to tell a few of the stories of just like how you've been able to like really support in the moment. You could tell the show where I had to leave halfway through. You could tell the Fonda show where I had to go to the hospital right after, and Miami Music Week when the paramedics saw me on stage and were freaking out, and then I like gave them thumbs up.
Wait,
You were,
before you tell those three stories, can you just tell us because we're at the time chronologically where you guys met because we just got to
oh
2020,
sorry,
you're 1920. No, I want to hear all that,
I
but
met
how
Kiana a
did you
year
guys
before
meet?
2020. So yeah, go ahead, Kiana.
Okay,
Maybe
tell us how you
Yeah.
met and then those stories, please. Yeah.
So it's not a like head turning story, but it is a sweet story. We basically just met, a mutual friend introduced us, and I was early in my college years. I had been invited to a potluck that Juge was throwing like to celebrate one of her EP releases at the time for her own project. And this guy invited me. I was like, okay, I'll go. I go. My grandma brings me a box of oranges to go give her because I'm Persian and we do that kind of stuff. And I met Juge and instantly I fell in love. I was like, this is gonna be my best friend. I was like, oh my God. I'm born and raised in California, in the Valley, like right here in LA. And I had never met an individual like her. I was like, you are so cool. I screenshotted her Instagram the night I met her, and I've
we
never done
found
that
it.
before.
Yeah,
It's
we
kind
no,
of,
we literally found them.
we found it recently. It was like recent, and we found that I did that, and I was like embarrassed, but I really liked her. I was like, there's something so cool, so real about this girl. And even though we both loved music, I wasn't pursuing it, she was pursuing it. Um, I was so fascinated by her. I thought she had so much, like, I truly like see the fight in her. Juge, like, when you naturally meet her, and I always say this about her, like, she has this energy, this presence, and it's like this very, like, I'm here, like, very dominant, yet also kind and warm presence that I just like was drawn to immediately. And that's still one of my favorite things about her is she's strong and she's humble about it, but her presence almost gives you a strength in a way. And yeah, we became friends. We went to Coachella like weeks after meeting, like only a week or two after meeting. We were really
We didn't even go
like,
to Coachella. We went to the what's it called? We got a motel and just went to like the parties because we didn't want to buy
yes.
Coachella tickets, which is even better of a
Exactly.
story.
Yeah. So we were
Yeah.
just up to some funny business, and yeah, we were friends for years, and had become roommates probably what, about a year and a half into our friendship around then.
Yeah, I think
I
so.
would
Yeah.
say around, yeah, I'd say around a year and a half into our friendship, we became roommates. And then from I would say around, yeah, like 2021, we were like roommates ever since. Only for a short period of time we weren't, just because I broke my ankle and I couldn't move. That was a long story. But yeah, we were friends, and and then music happened somehow during COVID. We just got connected in a creative way. Like, I saw her pursue it, and it inspired me to want to still finish school to please my parents, but to try something that I love. And I loved seeing how much she loved it, and I was like, I love this too. Like, what if I actually could try it? And it gave me confidence. I would never do music for a career if it wasn't for Juge. And then I know she knows that too. Like, I would have never thought about it.
And we're just better
And
together. Yeah.
and down the line we realize we're better together. But throughout this entire just experience of like developing our friendship, developing a business together, and going through like the normal motions, I saw her so sick. I saw her be so sick, and then I saw her get a little bit better, and then I saw her get tenfold more sick. And I saw every different type of sickness, not just like, it's not a straightforward thing. It wasn't just the Lyme. I saw her go through PCOS. I had to learn what PCOS was when I was like, I would think she's dealing with her insomnia, but no, she's dealing with a heart condition. And I'm just like, where is this coming from? Like, I had no idea what Lyme disease was. I'm from the West Coast. Still, a lot of people from the West Coast, it's not like Deer doesn't exist. None of us know what this is. I'm understanding, like, I'm seeing her wake up in the morning and her eyes, this one's like bulging red, like crust, all of her body covered in hives. And I'm just like, what?
You're like, ew.
No, I'll be honest. I'm
I'm
just like,
kidding.
I'm like, what?
It's like a
Like you were
creature.
fine yesterday, and then in the morning she's waking up sweaty, her hair sticking up. There's red all over her eyes. Like, it's not funny, but I guess we can laugh
It like
about it because
is.
we're so
Yeah.
close. But I'm like, bro. Every week it's something else. There's something new. She then.
I love how they're like invisible illness, and like then Kiana has seen me on the
I'm
days
like,
where it's
girl, it's
screen
not
is
so
not
invisible.
invisible.
It's not invisible at all. I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah, we have to be careful with that term because we've mentioned it as well. And then people will come at us and be like, it's not invisible. I have plenty of physical, visible symptoms from Lyme disease, and it's offensive that you say it is. But again, it's like it's so hit or miss, right? I'm sure there are days where you looked healthy,
No,
right, Juge?
it's mostly all invisible. If you look at our
Yeah.
Instagram, Kiana and I don't choose to post pictures. Do you know what I'm saying? Like the other day we had a shoot, like you'll see on our most recent Instagram, and I had to wear what's it called? Glasses. I couldn't wear any makeup or glasses because I had rash all over my face.
so we went
And
with
like
it. But you would
so we
never
just went
think it's
with
because
it.
of that.
No, you're
Hmm.
not gonna post pictures the day. So no, you're right. It's mostly of the time we say invisible. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I would say most of the time it is invisible, or like she does her best to make it seem invisible. I mean, in some ways, sometimes when we're doing like photo shoots and stuff, like there's so many times we have to like move little things around, which is not usually, it actually somehow like we take everything very lightly. Like when it
Yeah.
comes to health, like it's like I've seen so many close people around me get sick, and then I've seen Juge, and it's like we always make it, we always
Work.
make fun with
Yeah.
it, you know, we always have fun
Yeah.
with it, we make it work. But point blank, this was meeting Jude was my first experience meeting somebody sick, to be honest. Like in the not in like having a flu type of way. I'm talking
Right.
about somebody sick. Somebody who can't get out of bed in the mornings, or can't move their like fingers and toes, who can't get more than 20 minutes of REM sleep in the middle of the night. Like I had never met anybody like this. And watching her struggle with also having to understand that she's 19 and somehow has to come up with this amount of money to even try a possible treatment that's going to help her, like having those conversations with her when we were 19, like trying to get work in any way possible. And thank God for the grant, because that was something that literally changed her life, allowing
Yeah,
her to have the
I'm going to
ability.
interrupt real quick. I'm sorry, Kat. We touched on
Yeah,
this
yeah.
earlier. So the Limelight Foundation is a fantastic organization. Phyllis Bedford, Scott Bedford. I mean, Christina Kovacs, who's partnered with them, and I'm sure we all know Christina. She's the mastermind behind Project Labcoat and has done a lot to help now the Limelight Foundation. They basically raise a ton of money for the Lyme community, and they provide patient grants for young people to get Lyme treatment. So how did you find out about the foundation? And then walk us through your experience with them and getting that grant, Jude, if you can, real quick.
Yeah, I believe it was a doctor. Like, I've seen a lot of like, is it called ILAD? Is that like ILAD? Is
ILADS,
that
yeah, International
ILAD? I
Lyme
know
and
it's,
Associated Disease
yeah, I didn't know
Society.
if you
Yeah.
pronounced it though, like I know it's ILAD, but I didn't know if it's ILAD, ILAD. Okay. A lot of ILAD doctors, and there was a doctor that recommended me for it because, as you know, like insurance doesn't cover a lot of things. And it just like I would think I was at a point where I just was like, I wanted to try ozone. I've been dealing with a sickness for years that I'm on these Facebook groups. Everyone's talking about these like SOT, ozone, things that like I hadn't even had the opportunity to try. And like, luckily, especially like when I was living with my parents and stuff, like I was very lucky that they were super supportive of like helping me. Like I was on my parents' insurance and stuff. But like some of the stuff is outrageous. Like I couldn't try like ozone or SOT. Like, and you know what I'm saying? And like I wasn't gonna
Yep.
ask my parents for like that sort of like, I guess, like support. So and that was unrealistic on a nanny's salary, and me and Kiana trying to start another career. That's not realistic. So I found out Limelight Foundation. I actually was too even sick to fill it out myself. Like it was just like a lot. And my sister, bless her heart, spent the time helping fill out the application for me and doing everything. And they awarded me a grant, and I've been receiving, because it doesn't all come at once. So like you get a certain amount, and then you have to be below the age of 25, I believe, is what their new requirement is. You get an amount, then you provide the receipts, and you get the other amount, and they will give you up to $10,000, which is really
Wow, it's up to
insane.
$10,000. That's
Mhm.
wonderful.
Yeah,
That's wonderful.
10,000, which
Did
is
you get
great.
a chance to meet Scott Bedford at the event?
The nicest guy. Like
Yeah.
I
So
literally,
sweet.
and hearing his daughter's story, I just was like, oh, I was really moved. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Phyllis. Have you ever met Phyllis in person? Because I did not, but
I did not.
she is very special human being, very caring and loving. And I mean, man, pure care. I mean, such a genuine, careless person. So we
Something
absolutely
that would be
love
cool for
the
you and
Limelight
your
Foundation.
podcast, something I would love to see in your podcast, maybe you already have one I didn't see. I'd love to see you interview someone from a parent's perspective, because it literally makes me want to like cry. It's like the most emotional thing to think about. A parent, like my mom's perspective of having to watch her kid go through something that she can't help. Like, you know,
Well, how would your mom feel about coming on the Tick Boot Camp podcast?
I'll ask her. Oh my God, that's going to be one I would have to ask her, get a lot
I
of
mean, that's actually a good point. Think
tissues.
about it. Like a kid doesn't know what's
Oh, that's
going
funny.
on a lot of the time. So it's like a parent is the one who's like managing their entire
Yeah.
health plan, like healthcare plan. And that's actually a
But
really
like,
good
and
point.
also like, my mom knows, like, think about all these parents. Like, my mom knew that there was no clear path, but my mom also wants to remain strong and make me feel hopeful. So, like, my mom made me feel like I was going to have it figured out. But I'll be honest, in the back of my mom's mind, she probably did not know how I was going to figure it out.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
yeah.
we've had a few moms on with their children, and it's been really interesting to hear those perspectives. We don't have enough. Actually, Liza Blas, who was at the event that we met you in person at, she was there with Dr. Rolls. Did you get to meet Liza? She is the mom of her entire family, her children and her, all had Lyme disease. She became an activist and an advocate to fight for her children to get them proper care and was desperate to get them care. Thank God, what a success story. Her children are doing better. They're in remission. And now she's working for Dr. Rolls, a connection she made while becoming an advocate. And we had her on the podcast to share her view as a mom. And her daughter and her kids were very sick. And it was a really interesting perspective. So sincere offer. Please ask your mom, Juge. And if she'd
I
like to come on,
will.
we'd love to have her.
100%. Yeah, no, I just love that. Yeah, I definitely will. Because I can't imagine
That's
what
a
a
really good
parent,
idea. Yeah, no,
what,
I was really happy when the grant situation happened, because it was a game changer. I remember me and Jude would sit around and be like, what if we tried this? What if you tried this? What if you
yeah.
tried this? We had a list of all these different ideas that we could think that would cure the Bartonella, the Babesia. After she did the trials to figure out exactly like what infection was causing her this at this time, because you have to obviously trial and error it. It's not a very simple path to be like, what exactly is it? Is it the Lyme? Is it this? Is it that? Like you can't really do that, so you have to do the trials to figure it out. Once we were trying to understand that, and she's talking about ozone and all these different things, like
I
we were
really
like,
wanted to try hyperthermia. That was the one I
yeah,
was really wanting to try. But I mean, obviously the cost, it's usually done in Germany, and also my seizures are the thing I struggle with most right now. So like that was not a possibility.
Dude,
Yeah.
when did your seizures kick in? Was that around this time or later? I still want to miss that piece.
I definitely want to talk to you about that too, because I've tried so many times, like really putting out there in the Lyme community, like to see if somebody else has had the similar experience, and I don't really find any people that have. So basically, the problem with my seizures is I'm diagnosed with epilepsy. So I don't know if you got an EEG and yours showed up as epileptic seizures, did it?
It did not. No. They just told me they
That's
couldn't make sense of it. I was having seizures for about a year straight and they were just visible, right? And then they just couldn't figure out why. And they kept sending me home and saying follow up with a specialist.
So mine are visible. The weird thing is like I never had any of this happen before I was sick, and then it slowly progressed, and I just blamed it on the Lyme. If I get the Lyme better, it'll go away. And then ended up, like I said, in the hospital in 2020 when things got bad. They did an EEG, fully had the it's called mesial temporal sclerosis, which is scar tissue on like the temporal lobe, which is usually indicative of epilepsy. Was told to follow up with a neurologist, but me being me, I'm just gonna focus on the Lyme. My seizures got worse, and then I got an EEG, which confirmed my epilepsy diagnosis in 2022. And it wasn't until the end of 2023 that I was willing to try anti-epileptic medication, which to this day, I literally was finally saw an epileptologist today. To this day, still does not work. So please let me
Okay.
know why. I'm on 3,000 milligrams of Keppra and it does not work as those
1,000
seizures.
milligrams of Keppra in
No.
her tiny little
3,000,
body.
3,000, not 1,000,
That's
3,000. Yeah.
crazy. So just a fun fact, if you go to our website, tickbootcamp.com, and you search a keyword like seizures, you're going to find
Awesome.
podcast guests that have mentioned that in their
Ooh.
interviews, with especially if it's in the show notes too. So I mean, I just did it. We have a good amount of results, but a couple that really stand out that I think you should reach out
Yep.
to. Tanya Miller is going to be one.
Okay.
Kelsey Wenberg is going to be another. Nick Terensky is the gentleman I told you about who had seizures from the antibiotics, ended up in a wheelchair. Another really powerful story.
Okay. I'm
Max
super
Max
excited.
Noy, Max Noyer, who was at the event. Did you meet that Max? She was there with Global Lyme. She came from,
Mm.
I think, from Uganda. She just flew in. She was from
I don't
she's
think so.
from Jersey. No, so she's another one. Reach out to her. She's really a nice activist. Max Noyer is her
I'm
name.
gonna
She was
take
there. A whole bunch of
I'm
people.
gonna
So if
take a
you
look.
That's honestly
Um,
one of the biggest current issues she's dealing with. Like she's literally on 3,000 milligrams of Keppra, and this girl's literally seizing every night, and we can't. And
yeah.
she went to a doctor today, a great doctor that I'm excited. I haven't even talked to, I haven't even caught up with you about it just to hear what he said. But like literally, that's just been like a really big deal for her right now. It's been a big.
Yeah, and it was when I got off the pill, it got worse, like around ovulation and my menstruation. It's called catamenial epilepsy when like it gets worse because estrogen triggers hyperexcitability in the brain, which can provoke seizures, especially people in epilepsy. The hormones can make the seizures get worse. But yeah, that's like I would say the thing I struggle with the most. The POTS is completely fine. I've been knock on wood, but POTS has not been an issue for a long time.
what
I hope to
what
keep
helped you with
years.
POTS?
So very weird in 2020. Out of the rash started coming back. It just like honestly, it's like this like little like shadow following me. Like it's just like my immune system getting sick a lot again, and um my and also to be like just to give you a good picture, I have not had a normal 20s, even though it looks on social media like oh my me and Kiana are like traveling and stuff. Anyone who knows me well knows like every birthday I've spent, like, it has I just haven't had, like, a normal birthday. Like, my 21st birthday I was like, I was very adamant when I was so sick, and I spent the whole time we went to Miami with a few friends. I didn't leave the Airbnb, and I was literally the entire time upping my Ambien, trying to get sleep. So, like, I think I had a while I don't know if you talked to people about this, but I had a very big denial period and, like, I was trying to feel like everyone else, and I didn't have a lot of acceptance, and I think that prolonged my, healing.
Yeah.
So with that, yeah, so but what I will say is I've never been able to be the type of like so when my flare came back, it's not like I was going out drinking, doing these things. Like I wasn't even able to do that. So it just really like life just brought it back to me.
I
And
remember you at
I
your
remember I was
I
on
think you
the
were at your parents when I visited you with when your PCOS when your POTS got really
pots.
bad.
Yeah, I was so no, but I was randomly in Newport one day with some friends, 2020, and all of a sudden I felt really dizzy and felt like I was gonna pass out. My heart was like tachycardia, no anxiety or anything. They took me to the hospital. They just said it was tachycardia. Went back to my house. Same thing in the morning, passed out, and then all of a sudden, racing heartbeat was at Cedars-Sinai at the hospital. So that's when they realized that I had POTS, which is like postural wait, what is it? Postural orthostatic. What is postural for? Tachycardia syndrome. Postural
Yeah.
orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. Okay, that's awesome. I'm really proud of myself.
Good job,
But yeah,
Shelby.
so yeah, funny enough, that was right after all of this happened. Okay, like I said, I don't tell things in chronological order. The
But you actually
SIBO, I was
are.
having like,
We're bouncing around, but you're doing a good job. We keep coming back, so
okay,
don't be hard on yourself.
It's all connected, you
Yeah,
know.
it is.
okay. So basically, my stomach issues were the first thing around that flare that became problematic again. And so that's when they were like, "Oh, your SIBO is really bad." Like I did a breath test, and they put me on the two. It's rifaximin and another antibiotic starts with an N. After that, I literally could not even get through it. I was throwing up, felt awful. The POTS started, and these quote unquote episodes that I didn't know were seizures, but were seizures, started happening where I I always have like since my health weirdly started like getting weird. My mom said when I would sleep, I would start like jerking in my sleep, but like never thought anything of it until the seizures kind of generalized and progressed into things that I could actually categorize as figuring out, oh my God, I need to see a neurologist, like what the hell is going on. But yeah, so I really do think the antibiotics triggered that POTS flare because it was right after that. And then I ended up in the hospital for a minute. They put me on beta blockers. It was really bad too because they were warning me about something with like I think it's called SVT. Do you know what that is? Like basically when your heart goes into like abnormal rhythm when like the tachycardia is so bad. So like my heart was like I was admitted for a minute and I would go in and outpatient, but because my cardiologist was associated with the hospital, it was nice. He would come and visit me, so it was really helpful. I lost a lot of weight at that time as well, so that was like back when I was 90 pounds and they told me after everything got better with the beta blockers months later to follow up with a cardiologist because I'm sorry, a neurologist because they saw the mesial temporal sclerosis in my brain. And I never did that and I regret that, but I just thought I'm gonna get the Lyme better and this has nothing to do. But I do think it might be that I just have epilepsy. That's the only one thing that I could see has nothing to do with the Lyme, which I don't know how it wouldn't, but I do have like positive epilepsy, EEG. I do have the once again, mesial temporal sclerosis that shows up when people have like seizure activity that's been like uncared for a while. I just don't understand why Keppra doesn't work, but a lot of people have to go through a lot of anti-epileptic drugs for it to work. So it's a process, I
Yeah,
guess.
and I think you'll find your way because it's interesting, and I can share this with you that people that generally get diagnosed with psychiatric disorders and then they get treated with psychiatric drugs, they don't work as well as it would for somebody who's not suffering from Lyme, and that's another
Oh,
clue that
interesting.
it's not actually the thing, right? So we've had some doctors on. We've had
That's very
this
interesting.
yeah, Dr. Leo Shea out of New York City. He's a leading Lyme literate neuropsychiatrist. And he believes that all mental health related illnesses are connected to some pathogen, that they're not just
I could
mental
see
health,
that.
that there's something, an imbalance in your gut, a microbe, Lyme, a virus, a bacteria, a parasite,
I
whatever is
could see it.
contributing to these things, right? Could even be toxins. So, but if you have Lyme related mental health issues, generally the rule of thumb we've heard from all the specialists is that your treatment won't work as well as somebody who's not suffering from Lyme. And if that's the case, you should think Lyme
Yeah.
disease. That's something that we should make mental health professionals aware of because it's the pattern we're identifying in our community. So I wonder if the same is true of the epilepsy, where traditional epilepsy medicine is not working. Is that a sign that it's really an underlying symptom of Lyme or some other tick-borne infection that hasn't been
Yeah.
really fully addressed yet? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that's the same thing for my sleep problems. I was on every single sleep drug known to man, and like there's no reason none of them should have been not able to put me to sleep. Yeah, I think for epilepsy specifically, you have to fail, like, meaning like most people Keppra 3000 should work, but like I'm not super not hopeful in the fact like, I think I will find a drug that'll work for me. I just was very against like I think I've just been thrown so many pills for so many different problems with this whole Lyme journey that this
Yes, I've
last
seen it.
yeah, the last thing with the epilepsy that I just was like very that's why I let it get this far with my seizures that have progressed this bad is like I just like I'm so sick and tired of like someone trying to put a band-aid on something else for me and giving me a pill that really doesn't fix everything in the first place. I kind of like that's what you were saying, Matt. And but for this, I'm going to have to try some things to just I don't know, keep myself safe.
Yeah, I'll say if you're going to consider the natural route and not the antibiotic route or the pharmaceutical route, the key there is going to be consistency, right? No matter what you're
Yes,
using it
yes.
for, whether so, it's the number one thing we've heard from naturopaths and even herbalists and even Dr. Rolls, who was at the event with us. If you're not going to be consistent, you won't get the results you're looking for. So I
Yeah.
think that's something that you have to kind of commit to. Like, I'm going to do this every day and take these herbs every day and give it 6 months and then reassess, which seems like a lot of time, but it is rebuilding your body and re-strengthening your body at a deeper level. So it's something I think we have to decide on as patients. That's something we want to do, and what are our options and how do we want to proceed? But I do know that consistency is going to be key for a lot of these things to get further healing. And I would say, and I don't think you're this type, Juge, but I clearly think other people that I was this way. Don't ever give up. Don't ever think that, hey, I have epilepsy and I'm never going to get this under control, because I don't believe that. Whether it's Lyme or whether it's unrelated, I believe you can have better control over your illness, right? So I just don't want you to lose sight of that. I thought I was just this damaged human being. You're gonna continue to make progress. Don't ever give up and keep fighting for improved health, because you're gonna get better and better and better.
Thank you. Yeah, today specifically was like a big one for me. I feel like I even like look worn down. Like I cried, but not like. Also, it was a huge thing. Like a lot of neurologists, they don't specialize in epilepsy, so like I've just been given a lot of misinformation. I was literally at Cedars-Sinai a week ago in the hospital because my seizures were clustering so bad, and like they just give you the benzos. And I finally was able to see an epileptologist today, and he was like, "No, that's like the sixth." He's like, "I'm an anti-benzo." He's like, "We're gonna try all the other anti-epileptics and all the other testing of trying different medications before I put you on a benzo." And I'm like, "Thank you," because and I cried at the end of it because I just felt so seen. I felt very hopeful, and like exactly what you're saying is like I don't think I really luckily have that mindset of I don't know why. I just always think it's going to work out, and even if it's not working out
That's one
that
of the best
day.
qualities about you, though. That's literally why you're able to hold such a like a high energy, high impact career while still being able to deal with all that. That was literally the reason that I literally met you, and I was like, I want to become her best friend.
I think it's because I'm
That's
naturally curious too. Kiana knows I research so many things that like, and if anything, that could be a bad thing because then, like you said, I'm jumping from one thing to another, not being consistent, trying one thing. But I'm always just like out there looking. Like for instance, with Kiana, not to like share any personal information, but she had like an ongoing infection and no antibiotics were like working for it. And I was like, I probably shouldn't be giving you medical advice, but like I have gone down every rabbit hole. She tried oil of oregano and
Oh yeah. Well, no, I mean, I don't even care to tell you. Basically, like I've had chronic UTIs for 3 years. It's just always been a problem for me. I don't know why it's happening, and I can't understand why. I think it's because I have endometriosis, which I'll figure out soon. I might do the surgery. But point blank, yeah, I literally could not get on medication. I went to a doctor, and I still can't get them to send me my medication. But basically, I know I went to a doctor like 5 days ago. I'm like, please send me medication. They're like, you have a raging UTI. It's gonna reach your kidneys. I was like, I could thank you,
I
but
could
but
use
point
it.
but point blank, I was struggling. I have struggled with this for like 3 years on this one random thing, and she just said, hey, I'm not a doctor, but try this. And to be honest, like I was desperate. So I tried it, and literally the oil of oregano like got rid of 90% of my pain within 2 3 days. And
Wow.
I've never had that happen before. Not even on antibiotics. It takes like 4 or 5 days to work.
Oil oregano is strong. It's a lot of antibacterial properties, and also too, like you can't take it. Like I mean, you'll see like if you look online, because people will use that and berberine for SIBO, and that's a protocol that I'm going to be doing once I get on my new seizure medicine, just like one at a time for to treat my SIBO because I don't really want to go the antibiotic route. And you have to do like 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, and you can only do that for 8 weeks. Like that will take like the good bacteria out of your gut too if you like overdo it.
No, but it's the first time I've ever like, because I obviously like I'm very lucky with my health. She struggles with so much. It's the first only really thing that I struggle with, and so I never thought to try anything, like a supplement or something different. And when she offered that, she was absolutely right. And I'm gonna talk to my doctor about it, and also just like look into maybe you were telling me mentioning like a
I think it'd
naturopath
be
or
good for her to see like no, not naturopath, but some sort of integrative medicine
yeah. So
doctor.
I'm even like someone without Lyme, like I think like because she's so like knowledgeable on this stuff, like she
Yeah.
really did actually help me with that, and I took her advice.
Well, because
Nice.
women's healthcare too, like they don't, there's not much education on women's healthcare. So if she's going to like, I think an integrative medicine doctor would do longer, more in-depth blood work than OBGYN is going to do anyway.
Oh, no
So
doubt. No
yeah.
doubt. I want to put it into context because people listening to this podcast are thinking, oh my goodness, like you're speaking really fast, you're really smart, you're a good
Oh, I
speaker.
don't feel like
I'm
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 speaking.
looking at your
I'm
social
good.
media, you look healthy. I don't understand. And this is why I want to tie it back for
Oh, that's my
Kiana
favorite thing. Yeah.
to give us some of the stories that you were letting us share earlier, Juge, when you had
Okay.
these moments we had to
Okay.
leave. If you could share some of the, the best friend behind the scenes moments, Kiana,
Yes.
about
Wait,
Juge,
can I
and
give you three that like I think you should include? One is like the Bloom, two the Fonda, and three Miami on stage with the Med. 10.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's start off with Bloom. Basically, we were DJing an event like in partnership with Bloom. It's like the drink company. And yeah, we were DJing for a few hours and we had like one break in the middle. So we were doing our thing, took our break. Juge goes to Sweetfin and gets like this poke bowl. It's fish. Not a good idea. They she'll explain more why this had happened, but point blank, she comes back in the middle of playing. Her throat's closing up. Her face is red. Her
Wheezing.
eyes are bulging out. She's looking at me and she's like, I think I have to go to the doctor. I was like, I think the hospital. And I was like, leave. She had to literally leave middle of the thing. And she didn't
Went to
go
a
to the hospital,
restaurant.
but she
Yeah, no,
parked
I
right in
went to be
front of
by
it.
at the hospital just in case. I do have an EpiPen because my histamine issues are so bad. So I just wanted to be near. So I had the friend who was like working the event with us take me be right by a hospital. And then I just went to a restaurant and not to be gross, but like you have to
And
get
she
it
came
out.
back. That's the part
And
that
I
killed me
finished the
too.
show.
I'm like, she literally left for like 30 minutes and she's like, I'm coming back. I'm like, go home. Like, go
Wait,
home.
you
She
went
came
to a
back.
restaurant and what did you? You gotta
I
be
just wanted
specifics.
to. I wanted to be close to a hospital just in case I would go. I got nervous. I was wheezing. My throat was closing up. So we actually went and got 2 Benadryls for me, and I wanted to be close to a hospital just in case I went to anaphylaxis because I was like hives. And so then I went to a restaurant, and not to be gross, you have to when you have an allergic reaction, you need to like get it out.
Yep,
And then
yep.
after we played a 2-hour set, so
She
she
came
did an
back for
hour
the
by
last like
herself.
15
Come
minutes. I was like,
on.
no, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just like it's crazy. Now, the next one is one of my favorite stories. Is not favorite because it was a good story, but it was just funny because I can never get the paramedic putting a thumbs up out of my head. But we were playing Miami Music Week and we were doing a bunch of shows that day. I mean, that day we had like 4 shows. We were playing with
Yeah,
Miami.
it's
We did
ridiculous.
like because our record had just gone #1. We were doing like a thing with Miami Heat. We had a lot of really crazy, amazing things happening that day. But Jude was so freaking sick. She was so sick, like really bad around this time. And you would not think it by looking at the videos. She's going, hey, I just got a #1 record on camera, but then going home and literally like passing out. We were playing that show, and I forgot what exactly your symptoms were that day. It was really
I
hot.
hadn't slept in days. Like that was like when my insomnia was at its worst,
That's what
and
it
I was
was.
taking like a ton of stuff, like Ambien, mess, whatever, to try and sleep too. And honestly, just being honest, the lack of sleep,
She
literally,
was
I
like
felt
tired
I
but
was
wired.
hallucinating. Yeah, I was
Yeah, she was like literally
hallucinating.
she
Yeah.
had all this drugs in her system. She was basically like awake. It was like 100 degrees. She was like hallucinating. And she had to go stand on a hot stage for like hours a day, like playing shows. And so there's paramedics there and they looked at her and they're like, you can't like you should not be going, like don't go on
So
stage.
I
They
felt like
basically
I was
told her,
gonna
don't do
pass
it.
out. So they like sat with me and they were like, "You can't play." Like they're like, "You're not good to play." Because I like felt like I was gonna pass out. My heart. They did my like whatever the heart rate, and my heart was
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
pounding.
it was a bad situation, and I kept telling her like I'll do it myself, I'll do it myself, and like we just have a thing where like in the moment, obviously we had already said we're gonna be doing it, so like if I was there, I would have done it. But we have a thing where if she's not well or
I've
if
never
something's
not
happening
played a
to me,
show. I've never
she's never
not
we've
played.
never yeah she's never not played a show, but God forbid like it's just we don't play without each other. Like that's just kind of like not really what it is. Like you know what I mean? Like
Yep.
not I'm not gonna say yes to a show if she can't be there. Like, it's just that's not you're not getting the artist. But basically, yeah. So I was just like, listen, I'll play. We'll play together because she was like, I cannot not be there. So,
She had my Alka-Seltzer Gold on the ground, like where I was
yep.
able to like go below the booth, just like sit there.
And we
They
had
had
like a
they gave me
seat there.
fans,
We
seat,
had a
yeah.
seat there and like 2 fans. So basically, we had a seat there, and we said at any moment where she felt like she was gonna pass out, go take a little seat like on the toddler chair, and I'll keep going for a while, and then you can come back if you need to. But that I said, I'm only allowing you to go on stage if you say that if you feel like you're about to pass out, you're gonna go sit down. Like that was like our rule. So basically, she of course played the entire show. They never took a seat. Played the entire show, and the
I can duck down
paramedics
for some Alka-Seltzer.
and we're playing this set and I look across, we both look and the paramedics are just like staring at her and she's like and then they look back at her and they're like
Wait, so for the people that aren't watching on video, we got to share for the audio only podcast. So they literally look at her and she gives them a thumbs up, and
oh
they look
yeah
at her
yeah
confused and give
They
her a
were
thumbs
like,
up back, right?
you know,
she
at
looks at
first though,
them
they looked at
like
me. At first, they were like you, and they were like this, and then I said I'm good, and they were like, okay.
yeah
Okay, like we don't believe
they were
you.
like they were like is that the girl who's about to like die like pass out like and then they're like freaking out. It was the funniest thing. This last one, we played Fonda Theater with our friend Disco Lines, and um, this one I think has to do with your insomnia. Was it insomnia as well? That was the
It was
main
all of
symptom.
it
It was
again. Like
all of
I
it.
just really bad body pains, hadn't slept. The sleeping was nuts. Like I literally at that point, I think I was like 2.5 days, like without an hour, like almost three
Yeah.
days.
Point blank, this girl was just yeah. It was just one of those things where it's like it just happens. If she's so sick to the point where she's gonna not be able to be okay after putting her body through that much adrenaline for like 2 hours straight, like something's gonna happen. And we played Fonda. It was a really big opportunity for us, and she did not want to miss it. But I remember she was so sick. But our careers were like, it was like she said, we had gotten to a point that when we decided to become Zella, it wasn't a I'm gonna like try to make it moment. It was like everything is working. Like it just started working. You didn't have to understand it, it was just working. But her health was not understanding that. So she just kept falling into moments where these were huge opportunities she could not miss because it was her dream. But she had to make it work while with having her health in disarray. We played Fonda, and I just remember like it was a shit it was a bad situation. She played the set, great set, and we were like trying to like relax and get down, but she literally had to leave right after getting off stage to go to the hospital immediately. Like we tried to be normal, and usually the
But our
adrenaline.
manager's like, "How's the show?" And I was like, I didn't want to answer because like I just like don't want to be like, "Oh my god, the hospital make them feel bad and stuff." I was like, "It's great" and stuff like that. And I'm like, "We're gonna have to move the team call tomorrow," and didn't explain why. And then
We had
Kiana, like
not told our team yet.
a few days later, Kiana's like, "Yeah, Juju's been in the hospital since that show," like,
That's what I'm
because I
saying.
didn't want
Yeah.
to.
That's what I'm saying. Because this was around the time where our careers just started. Like she hadn't told our team yet that she's Lyme. Like
Yeah,
it was one of those
true.
things that she like wanted to integrate into her career very carefully. Because like I mentioned, even though she never misses a show, Jude was afraid that people would not take her seriously if they thought she was sick.
I
So
thought they would think I was unreliable. I don't want to be looked at as unreliable. Yeah.
even though she's not, to be honest, I've missed more meetings than Jude has ever missed a meeting. I've missed my alarm more
Yeah,
times than more than this girl's ever done. Like this girl's never been late to a single thing a day in her life. And point blank, yeah, she was in the hospital for days after getting off of one of the biggest stages in LA, having to explain to her team like 3 days later, like on a team meeting, yeah, I've been in the hospital for like 4 days. Like, weren't you just playing a show? Like it's just one of those things where you would
we've
never
had crazy
assume.
moments with it. Like I feel like people
You
like
went to the
it's
hospital after the Christmas one, the Christmas show in New York,
oh
right?
my God, to get
Remember?
no, I went to urgent care to get prednisone. I've done that a few times too, because I'm like, I have two more shows this weekend. But I don't do that anymore. I'm telling you, when I got off the birth control, my sleep got better and stuff. But like, when the sleep was that bad, it was like, I'm not gonna make it through these next two shows if I don't get a steroid. That was kind of like, if I don't reduce the
Yeah.
inflammation in my body, I'm not gonna even be able to continue
We
to work
had
this weekend.
we had to become the queens of MacGyvering when it came to figuring out how to tour with like
Sesame, like the online health thing I would do, like the
yes.
Sesame, which is like an online like urgent care. Trying to think,
It
like,
was it was a
yeah.
bunch of trial and error, but we always say that one day we're gonna have to write a book or create like a whole entire like series on like what it actually looked like becoming
True.
Zella, because it was not like a, oh, I want to go pursue a dream, I'm gonna make it. No, it was like crazy stories left and right, hurdles like that you would never even think of, and it all had to do, to be honest, with not just the way the way it is to try and become an artist. It had to do with the fact that she was trying to do that while being so sick
Yeah.
all the time. And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
one of those things that I think one day she should definitely like we should do a series or come up with a book or something, because it's a crazy story seeing her
That's
like
cool.
you went from being in the worst shape, having one of the worst flares I've ever seen, to literally getting a #1 record in 3 months. That doesn't like that's very difficult, Julia.
Okay.
And
Also, no
I
one.
that
Thank
that is one
you.
of the reasons that
Well,
I
we did it
look to her.
together. I could not have done it by myself. That was like just like
We
very
did it
evident that
together,
like
but the
every.
fact that you
Yeah.
could even stand to even accept the record was crazy. Like it was
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. I
Juge,
mean,
tell us
Matt,
a
you
little bit
brought a
about that.
I mean, the way that you just asked the question is like something that I feel like is like such something that not that I struggle with, but like it's just like I feel like it's like a double life type of thing where it's like people see us on social media, but like if they're not a close friend of mine, they just like they have no idea. Like they have no
Yeah.
idea who I am. You know what I'm saying? It's like Kiana and I think that's an interesting thing, like the duality of like, yeah, we're Zella and we're always gonna be Zella, even the more so like we're trying to push our career. But I'm also Juge and she's also Kiana, and I don't think sometimes people differentiate the two, and I don't think people see us for us. And that's something I've kind of struggled with because I'm just like, I want people to want to know me on a deeper personal level. And that this is a part of me, but I also don't want it to be like all encompassing of me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. But I do
Yeah.
think that you're further along in your healing journey than you think you are, is my opinion of
I
this
am now.
discussion.
Yes. No,
Now,
no, this happened
certainly.
a few years ago, a lot of
This
this
was a few
stuff.
years ago, like when
Okay.
you're yeah.
Like two
Got
years
it.
ago.
Yeah.
Right, but I think now that you're getting towards the tail end of your healing journey and you're learning all the tools and you're building your toolbox of doctors and treatments and hacks and things to get yourself in a better place, I do think there's a lot out there for you in the future. And I think potentially a Netflix documentary, potentially a
Oh my
book,
God.
potentially whatever, right? Because
Yeah,
that's what
so
we
cool.
need. We need people like yourselves to help us raise awareness at a scale that most people can't, right? And that's
Yeah.
where we all bring our
Wow.
God-given talents to help raise awareness and bring to the cause, because it's something that's touched all of our lives
Wow.
so personally. So, I know that's something, there's going to be, you're going to continue to bring awareness. Never mind what you've already done with Project Labcoat and being interviewed on all these other, we've seen, read a lot of your articles where you shared your story, but I think there's a
Thank
lot more to
you.
be had here for you to raise awareness and help not only our community, but just the whole world, because nobody understands how bad Lyme can be and how
Yeah.
if we had proper awareness, we can curb a lot of this. Because if we got caught at earlier stages of our illness, we wouldn't be as sick and it
Mhm.
wouldn't be as deep as it was for us when we finally got diagnosed. So don't
That
lose
means
sight of
so
that.
much to
Huge.
me. That
Yeah,
means
that's
so
very
much to
kind of you,
me.
Sam.
Like that literally like reignites like not just hope, but like also just like I don't know. I have had such an amazing experience and like I've always been able to find like whether it's Facebook groups or whatever, like a great Lyme community. Like the people in the Lyme community are amazing. But now that we've gotten to do some like advocacy work and like be able to also like you are so amazing to talk to and so smart. Like this has been like such a delight and like being able to have conversations with people like yourself I think has really allowed me not just to accept, but to be like proud of what I have gone through and also like proud of the community I'm in of people who have also had to face this adversity and not have to look at it from. I've never really ever looked at it. I'm going to be honest and not to toot my own horn. I really don't think I ever looked at it from glass half empty. Of course, I've had days where I'm like, yeah, of course, this sucks. But like, I feel even more so with this community able to like look at it glass half full.
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen the shift in times. Like the conversations are changing around Lyme disease. And I feel like that's
Yes.
become so apparent.
Mhm.
Every few months I start to notice like it's really cool seeing so many different people from so many different walks of life come together and being a part of these organizations. I feel like I've been so blessed to meet everyone and hear all their stories. Like it feels like the conversations are being had more and I really do hope to see something happen soon, you
Yeah,
know?
and it's also because so many people are being impacted by it, which is so unfortunate, right? You have people like Justin Timberlake. You have people like just last week it was one of the Jonas
Kevin
Brothers'
Jonas's
wives.
wife.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
Yes,
remember
Kevin
that.
Danielle
Jonas's.
Jonas, right? I mean,
Exactly,
it's
yeah.
it's nonstop. People are getting diagnosed and they're raising awareness and all kinds of weird symptoms, right? She had the hair loss and the
The hair
eczema
loss.
and all the skin stuff, right? She had a skin
Yeah.
biopsy that proved it. It was literally they biopsied her skin, and she's very open about that. But I think it's all these people. And look, the Cohen Foundations, who again we met the representative at the event. Their family members personally impacted. That family owns the Mets, right? The New York Mets, and here they are funding millions of dollars of research at universities to study Lyme disease because it touched their family personally.
That's amazing.
Even what's very interesting is even President Trump, his family's been personally impacted. So Donald Trump Jr. follows
Oh,
Tick
really?
Boot Camp because so it's just everybody. I feel like if you ask anybody, they everybody knows somebody that's been touched by Lyme disease in a non-acute way, meaning their lives have been significantly altered because of it. And
I've
because
seen
of that,
RFK
we're
talk
getting
about it. RFK's
he
talked
did.
about it.
He
I was
did.
gonna ask
Yeah.
you, like, what do you see like in like you might not have a definitive answer, but do you see like this administration in this next 4 years doing anything with Lyme?
Yeah, I do. And I'm
Mhm.
hopeful. I
Yeah.
hope that I'm right, but I think politics is going to play a big role, but I think this is a
Yeah.
disease that transcends politics. I don't care what your
Yes.
political views are. I think
Yeah.
I just
Mm-hmm.
think that this because of Trump's personal connection to Lyme and his son,
Yes.
right? So his son, I mean, likes all of our content because of how it affected
That's
him
so cool.
so it's just wild. Then RFK
I mean, it's
who,
just so cool for the visibility aspect, the fact that you guys are like reaching like the
yeah.
people who actually
I
can
had no
move
idea.
needles.
Yeah, it's really wild. And then when you think about RFK, his entire family's been touched by Lyme disease. And when they grilled him to bring him on, and he just said, "Hey, look, chronic Lyme is real." He said, "I'm gonna tackle this head on. We need more
I saw
research. We
that.
need more
Mm-hmm.
funding." And he didn't care. He just and
Mm-hmm.
then a lot of the media outlets kind of beat him up over it. And again, I'm not talking about his qualification. I'm not getting to any of the political side of
No,
it.
no,
Other than
no.
I think he cares. I genuinely believe he cares about Lyme because it touched his family, just like Trump it touched his family. So I'm hopeful that this administration will do more for us, especially to Kiana's point, Where right now we have this momentum, right? We were at New York Fashion Week in Manhattan where we had this whole
So
Lyme
true.
advocacy. You're seeing it on TV all the time. Justin Timberlake. We just said this is just in the last couple of months, all these things have happened. So I think the momentum is there, and I'm really hopeful for the future. And look at all the smart people. Again, Dr. Tal from MIT that we spoke to and interviewed just a couple of weeks ago when we were together. I mean, she's doing some groundbreaking work that is stuff that's like personalized medicine for Lyme disease because it is so personalized. And that's really what we need here. So yeah, I'm very hopeful. And I think in this administration,
Hell
I'm
yeah.
hopeful that we're going to have more research and we just got to keep advocating. We got to keep working together and, unifying together. And I'll say it again, using our God-given talents to help raise awareness. And that's exactly what you guys are doing. And I just couldn't be happier for everything you're doing because you're
Thank
reaching
you so
people that we
much.
can't, frankly,
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much. That's so kind of you to say.
So
Yeah, that means a lot.
I do have to just fill the gap because what happened over the last couple of years? What have you done from a treatment standpoint? Give us a view of where your health is at today, and just kind of let's wrap up where you're at today with
Yeah.
your health because I do want to talk about what's next, as well.
So, I got off birth. I'll just do like a past like year summary because the past couple years, like I said, like as you know with Lyme, it's like a roller coaster. But this past year, I got off birth control. I started Keppra, so my anti-epileptic when like my seizures became really out of control last last November, December. Then I got off birth control around a similar time, beginning of the year. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I literally have never gone a month on this Keppra seizure free, and it might not be the right anti-epileptic, but it's very odd. There are people who are having grand mal seizures, double my size, who have not even had to go up to 3,000 milligrams of Keppra, and their seizures are controlled. So it's an interesting thing. But from what I'm understanding from my neurologist, like not every drug like works for everybody the same. Um, and so that's been honestly the biggest stress of my year. But because of that, I definitely stopped um doing as much for my Lyme. Like I kind of fell back on like all the antimicrobials, a lot of things that I was doing that was helping me. I stopped the detoxing. I was just so focused with these seizures and also like being able to work that the rest kind of took a back seat, and I think that definitely took a toll on me. My stomach, not the stomach, I hate, but my SIBO became kind of a problem. That's what we're suspecting it is. I got a colonoscopy, and my celiac too was really in my small intestine. It was the bacilli was atrophied, which is usually like, I guess, indicating that the celiac is not really well controlled, which I eat at home most. I do take some chances when we're on the road with cross contamination, like getting a gluten
She's
free
very
and
good.
like
She's very good about it though, to a point
very
where me
good.
me being somebody who sees it, like I don't know how. I don't know how
Yeah.
personally.
And then I started having really bad problems with that was like the biggest thing probably this year too. I had really bad problems after getting off the pill with my ovulation and period, with really heavy with bleeding with the pain. And that's why they started prescribing the iron infusions because it just was not normal. And then I got a surgery and I ended up not having endometriosis. So I'm not really sure where a lot of people have. I'm not quite sure. I don't know. Like I'm trying to figure out where that's coming from. But I guess right now my focus is getting my seizures under control, getting my gut in a good place, and rebalancing my hormones, and then going after and continuing with a good Lyme protocol and continuing to detox. I just restarted my gym membership, and they have like a steam room and sauna. And because I feel like I'm very good with my money and very frugal, it like definitely gives me the push to be like, okay, let's go steam today. Even if we don't feel like we can move our body, let's go steam because we paid for it, which is that's good to move the lymphatic system. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah. I mean, all these free tools, right? Like, so I'm a member of Planet Fitness, which you probably are, you've heard of Planet Fitness, right? The gym.
Yes. Yes, of
So
course.
they have, I think they call it a full body detox machine, but they don't have it at all of them, but they have it at a good amount of them. And I've been using that, I mean, almost every
What is
day for the
that?
last week. So it's basically red light therapy. So it's a vibration plate with red light therapy. So you go into this,
Mm.
basically, it's like like a tall tanning thing. You stand in it and it kind of closes in and it's just an entire wall of red light therapy. And then the vibration plate gets you, they use it for like
Yes,
muscle
I know
toning. It's
exactly.
like a
Yes.
light workout. But for me, it's not really a workout. I mean, it could be
How
if you're not
long
really
is it?
active, it could be, but it's only 12 minutes. That's all it
Okay.
is. And the vibration plate does really good because it gets your lymphatic system moving. And a lot of our inflammation is because of a stagnant lymphatic system. And if you can
Yeah.
get your toxins flushed out, you pee it out, you sweat it out, right? So if you're exercising, it's a nice way to end an exercise. So if I go and I run, then I end with the red light therapy and the vibration plate. It gets my lymph moving, which is, ready from the
That's
running. It's
great.
helping there. You get your red light, and the red light penetrates deep into your tissue and helps break up inflammation as well. So there's a
I'm
lot of
trying to
tools like
restart the
that.
Nikki watch too. So I guess that is where I'm getting my red light from. I'm restarting the Nikki watch, which is the red light.
Yes.
And yes, I'll keep you updated with that.
So just a couple notes on that. So when it comes to female reproductive issues is such a common problem with Lyme disease, where
Yeah.
they have heavy periods, irregular periods, severe pain, like
Yeah.
8 days out of the month. We've had people that have had wow, I can't think of the word. What is it when you have like is it hysterectomy? Is that
Hysterectomy. Yeah.
yeah, people have had hysterectomies, but really it's all, and look, this is my belief. It's all around the inflammation. And if you can get the
It is.
inflammation down, you're going
It
to be
is.
able to manage the reproductive system issues. And we've had countless people on this podcast share that. So I'd urge you to go to our website and look up all the people and just search your keywords, right? Search all the keywords that you're looking for, and you'll see people that have gone through it, from doctors to patients to, whoever, and listen to their stories and maybe connect with them because they can relate to you at a personal level. And everybody's been on the podcast for the most part is very willing to communicate with you and everybody listening. So this is really a message for everybody who's listening to this podcast
Yes.
episode. Go check it out and interact with the people, because that's why we do this at Take
I
Boot
would love
Camp, is to
that. No, I
connect
love that.
everybody.
A great
I'd love
idea.
to connect. Yeah, I'd love to connect with anyone, like, and also anything that I can share. I feel like I said, my brain, after having that appointment that was far away today, I think my brain was a little bit all over the place today. So anyone that
No,
can be of any sort of help for it, I think that I don't know if I shared the best
No,
story in
you did
chronological
share.
order, but if they want to reach out to our page, I'm happy to answer any questions. We get that a lot.
thank
Funny
you.
enough, more than you'd think. We get that a lot, people asking us questions. And then we do get the people, which, like, bless their heart, there's good intentions, but we do have people who like DM us and be like, I know how to cure Lyme disease. And like sometimes it's a little bit stressful. Yeah, I know you're like.
No, but that's what you got to have Kiana answer, because so Rich and I do this. Rich actually, he texted, he had a client emergency. Rich is an attorney, so
No
sometimes
problems.
he has people, they need him for emergencies. So he's been stuck in a client emergency in his law firm all afternoon. But so when we get attacked, or we get people that, because unfortunately as an advocacy group, you get unhealthy people that are in the community
Yeah,
and unhealthy people outside of the community, have
of
Kiana help with
course.
that. And not to put you on the spot, Kiana, but like, somebody
Oh,
who's
girl,
more
I do.
healthy.
If I see something, I do. She knows.
Yeah.
If I ever see something, I'm so protective over her because I've seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'll screen, even if it was like just about the community. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not in a good place. I'll screenshot, like, Rich, can you respond to this? Or Rich, you deal with this. And like, I'll text it to him. You know what I mean? So there's a
Yeah.
nice balance
Yeah, it's a
in a
good idea.
partnership.
I
Yeah,
also always
you
want to be
should do that if you
polite,
ever
but
need to.
yeah, I always want to be polite, but sometimes it's like overwhelming, and I'm sure you understand. Like, I have to have like a healthy separation. Like, I'm a part of like some discords for epilepsy and things like that too. But I told Kiana, it's always how you're feeling recently. I feel like I kind of have to remove myself because like it feels a bit like trauma bonding for me, and for me, like that's not always something that's healthy for me. And
Yep.
everyone has their. Then sometimes I don't have enough to give because I'm like not giving enough to myself. That like there's always. I mean, I really admire you guys doing this all of the time. Like the fact that you're able to have gotten to yourself a place to be able to do advocacy all the time, honestly, I respect and admire so much because it can be hard to talk about your story and talk about something that took so many years off of your life every day, all day. So I really appreciate and respect that because for me, I'm not at a place where I can yet.
Yeah. And look, I think at some point you could be, and maybe it's just not for you, right? Maybe you're going to say, I need to walk away from this and I need to just go kind
Oh,
of
no. I will
step
never walk away.
away.
I will never be able to walk away. This is like my story. Like, I feel like I am so, there's no even way for me. And I also,
It's. I think
it's a
for
part of my
her,
life's mission, I think, to help. So I don't think
she's
it's that, but we have
she's a
some
Yeah.
creative
friends. Yeah.
individual. I feel like with a lot of creative individuals, it's like regardless of our story, it's like we share a lot of things through our art. We share a lot of things through being able to push through to create our art. And I feel like for her, it's like I really do see this beauty in being able to advocate for Lyme, but also doing it in a way that feels safe for her. Some of the best songs she's ever written, in my personal opinion, have to do with her health journey. And I think that is going to make its impact, but I really do see it happening for her in a creative way. That I
Yeah.
know for
Yeah.
a fact.
Yeah, no, I always wanted like that to be a big part of my story, and I love it. It was more so just like on the daily now. I think sometimes I'm such an empath too that like if I'm like feeling a little better today, it's sometimes hard. Then like I'm sure you understand like when you like are talking to people on the daily and then they're just like trauma dumping on you every single day, and then you're like, okay, I want to be there for them, but I also have to be there for myself, and that might mean like taking like a day off, a mental health day to like
You
enjoy
have to
my
set
wins and
boundaries.
feeling better.
Boundaries are
Boundaries.
Absolutely.
important, and that's not easy
Yeah.
for. And I get that. But so I do like what Kiana just said, because I do think that you're using your experience and expressing them via your talents, and your talents are that much more special because of your experience, and meaning it's even more powerful of a message, right? Your music and your art is even more powerful. So what's next? I mean, obviously you're going to continue to work on your seizures, and you want to get your inflammation down, but I think you've come a
Yeah.
really long way. You've done a lot of things. And unfortunately, I think, fortunately, but unfortunately, you did a lot in parallel in your journey. So it's hard for you to narrow down, like whether it was LDN or right, ozone, all these different things, because you did so much at once to narrow down, like, this maybe helped me, this didn't. But I think it's the collective
Yes.
everything that got you to where you are today. And then you're going to get yourself even further along by
Yes.
helping with some of the seizures and things like that. But putting
With the
aside
help of
your,
also going back to a functional medicine doctor, like I don't know if you've ever had Nicola Descharme on here. She wrote
oh my
Lyme
goodness,
reviews.
yes, we love her.
She's my doctor.
Oh, please tell her Matt and Rich from Tick Boot Camp say hello. She's
Okay, I'm 100.
fantastic.
Okay, so literally trust this woman with my life has helped me with so much. And to be honest, like I really, 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 once the seizures are control, I saw her a month ago for the first time in like so long, but I have to keep up with her because I trust her. I really do.
Yes. And that's
Yeah, I
important to
love her.
trust somebody. So so putting that, it's like obviously what's next is you're going to continue to treat, you're going to get better, and I have no doubt you're going
Mhm.
to get better and better and better and better. And it's never just, it's not linear, right? You're not just going to get better and better. You're going to four steps forwards, two steps back, three steps
Yeah,
forwards,
of
one step
course.
back. And that's the nature of it. But when you reflect back on your journey, where you are today and where you are in a couple of years from now, you're going to be just blown away by that. And I have no doubt about it. But what I'm really interested in, because I know this is going to happen in some shape or form, what are your visions for next steps to use your talents and use your experience to take
Mhm.
this awareness and advocacy to the next level? And if you haven't thought about it, I'm going to put you in the spot and say, what would you like to do in the future to help, use your voice in a bigger way to advocate for our
Yeah.
community?
I honestly
Well,
feel like things like the runway, like being able to create the mix. If you want to talk about that, I remember that was a really special
yeah, I
experience for
have some
us.
ideas though. Yeah, I do have some ideas for like moving forward. Like we do have something in the works for us to I don't I don't think that maybe I should like mention the name, but you probably know. I don't know if you know that they're looking to do like almost like a LymeStock, like a big like festival for Lyme. So that's something that we would perform in. And honestly, that sounds so exciting because being able to like do something and like use our voices would be really exciting for me. And then also, I think through song, like Kiana said, I write a lot of ballads. That's like the origin of music. I come from my writing style, and us doing dance music, yes, it's very different. But funny enough, a lot of our dance songs derive from like my ballads that I'll just sit and write on the piano. But I would love to be a part of like composing a film or documentary about Lyme. Like if there was like a film, like I don't know if you saw the movie, it's called like Brain on Fire. If there was
Yep.
a journey about like a Lyme patient different than her, but I'm saying like something like that, like me and Kiana really like TV film. I would love to be a part of like doing some sort of like musical composition for that. I mean, obviously writing a book would be so cool. And then my biggest passion is theater. So if there was some sort of like, I don't know if you know, but they once did a musical for Lyme. It was called like
No.
Bit or something like. Oh my God, it was like Bit or something. I'll send it to you. They literally, it was in New York, I'm pretty sure, but there was like a
Huh.
musical around. I wish I. Oh my God, I wish I told you. Yeah, a while ago. But I think
Oh, wow.
anything creative, and then also I think whenever it feels appropriate, like I said, I think it took me a while to be able to find like strength in what I've gone through rather than like I don't want it to ever um I don't know, I don't think I was ready for sharing some of it yet, but like also if there's any way Kiana and I continue to partner with people like you guys
Social
or
media.
just ourselves raise awareness and tell more of the story, I think that would be nice to be able to like build a community and have our brand like also not just like Lyme, but also I've made a lot of good friends with other autoimmune disorders that like I feel like Crohn's, like for instance, one of our good friends has
Yep.
Crohn's, and there's such a lack of awareness and like the shit that she has to go through every day, being in the
Yeah.
music industry and all of that. Like I'd like there to be a safer space that we can maybe create for people to see like, oh, they did it under these circumstances. I can do it too, type of thing.
Yep.
Especially with what she's gone through the last years. What I always see is like she is a representation for not only just like women's health, but for Lyme disease and for all these different things that have come through and made such a big impact in her life and have also stood in her way at times. I always think about it as like whatever she accomplishes will be a reflection of also the ability to accomplish that while dealing with Lyme and everything else. Like it represents something so much more than just who she is. And I definitely think that whatever we do down the line, we will always make it known, that, you can always do it regardless of this, and hopefully be able to help give advice and through social media and also like things that helped her throughout her journey.
One good
Yeah.
touring experience I'll give you, Cleveland, Ohio, Forward Hospitality was really accommodating. And like when I say nobody knows about my health issues, I really like, I don't even think our management, now that our management sees how involved we are and they're very involved and like they were involved with the Project Labcoat, helping like our music managers, like they now understand because and they actually when we started throwing them into some of these like advocacy opportunities, I think they didn't even know really the extent because it just like wasn't I wasn't really ready for the conversation, and it wasn't until a few people from the organizations kind of explained to them like what I go through. But oh wait, where was I? Where
Cleveland.
was it? Oh, Cleveland.
Hospitality. Yeah.
Yeah, so Cleveland, I had to get like it was like a very timely blood test done. And like, I hate asking for anyone to like move things around for me to do something, but the people like that were the venue, because we were playing in Cleveland 2 nights and they were picking us up from the airport, like the hospitality. And I was like, would you mind like if we stopped at a Quest or something just so I can get this blood drawn? I even felt so annoying asking just for that. I was like mortified. Like, and then not only were they like, absolutely no problem. They got me, Kiana, and the person that was on the road with us, all IVs for free. Like literally just
Wow.
like paid for IVs. They were like, you have 2 nights here, blah, blah. But I was like, I don't think they understand like the level of like appreciation for something like that. And they did my blood work in like the IV place. Like they just like had us go. And that's not very common for what we do. Like that was like above and beyond. So I was like, that's even cooler than like people who ask for like 3 tequila bottles. I would rather just like an
That's
IV. Like that's sick.
that's so, yeah, that's so
It's probably
true.
like the
That's so
same price
true.
as like 3 tequila bottles. I'm like, I'll take the IV.
Seriously. Yeah, well, so just to look, you are now officially part of our Tick Bootcamp family. And
Oh,
anything you guys do, you have our support. We want to be there with you if we can help, and facilitate and just support whatever it is, let us
likewise.
know, advertise, with our connections and our resources because we're all in this together, right?
Thank
we're gonna
you.
sink or float
Likewise.
together. And I know we are
Likewise.
going to have major success in the future. And we're going to have to do a follow up because there's nothing but better things on the horizon for both of you. And Kiana, now I can see why you're glowing to be here. And your story of just being instantly connected with Juge and bonded to Juge, I can see it, right? The drive, the determination. You guys are doing amazing work. You guys
Thank you,
are just
Mac.
awesome individuals. And we need to do some follow ups down the road if you guys are willing to come
Absolutely.
back. And I just can't thank you both
Anytime.
enough for joining our Tick Bootcamp
Thank
podcast.
you so much for having us. This
Likewise.
was such a joy.
And literally so long overdue. I've been wanting to do this with you guys for years. I'm finally glad we finally got to make it happen. I mean, something down the road that would be cool if we all got to do something again together. I feel like all these organizations need to like power up again. Kind of like what we
Yes.
did with the Project Labcoat GLA, all of
And I
them.
think that's going to be a hint for the future. I think the next one will have to be an in person recording, and then we'll have another in person podcast episode after this. So that'll be wonderful.
Love it.
Absolutely.